The years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $4,100 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 671-475-4545, Upper Tumon 671-647-5626, or in Dededo 671-633-4473.
Wow, nice smile. So perfect and all.
Thanks. I owe it all to Dr. Robert Yang and his smile team. They do wonders for a healthy, happy mouth.
Got teeth? Don't wait until they hurt. Schedule your routine checkup and cleaning with Dr. Yang and his smile team. Suite 119 in the East West Business Center, Upper Tumon. Call 647-8702 or 3.
The best thing that happened to teeth since toothpaste.
Dr. Yang and his smile team.
They make smiles happen.
Off a day at 7:06. I'm Donna De Jesus. Here's a look at your local news on The Point. Former GPD officer Jose Pablo Ananich has admitted to his part in a drug trafficking scheme in district court. The case was recently unsealed in December, but he pleaded guilty in July of 2021 to multiple counts of conspiracy to distribute 50 or more grams of meth, attempted meth possession with intent to distribute, and carrying of firearms in commission of a drug trafficking crime. The scheme had involved Andrew Manabusin, who has since cut a plea deal and is serving time for his part in mailing 8 pounds of meth from California to Guam. Investigators intercepted the drugs back in May of 2021 and tracked it to Ananich. He faces at least 10 years in federal prison and will be sentenced on March 28. Meanwhile, local Fish Mart owner Basiano Joysa is fighting his 21-month sentencing in federal prison for food stamp fraud. Joysa filed a notice of appeal in district court on Wednesday showing that he is taking the matter to the Ninth Circuit. A date for his appeal has not yet been set. Joysa will self-surrender to a U.S. Bureau of Prison facility that can provide treatment for his medical condition. He was also ordered to pay $250,000 in restitution. Joysa and his wife Hilaria Willie were convicted in the scheme that involved hundreds of thousands of dollars in illegal SNAP transactions. More news after this.
Half a day! Burger King fans rejoice! The new Italian Royal Crispy Chicken is now available. Crispy white meat breast filet topped with warm marinara sauce, melty mozzarella cheese on a toasted brioche bun. Top this off with jalapeno bites and a refreshing Coke Zero. Of course, like all good things, the Italian Royal Chicken will only be available for a limited time. Happy holidays from your friends at BK in Tumon Bay, Hagåtña, the Micronesia Mall, and the airport. You rule!
The 37th Guam legislature resumed its first session yesterday. A total of 8 votes were needed to obtain speakership, with help from all 6 Republican senators. Democrat Senator Therese Terlahi swept the speakership and beat Senator Joe San Agustin 9-6. Terlahi, Senator Chris Barnett, and Senator Sabina Perez were the 3 Democrat votes. San Agustin says this came as a surprise because the caucus never agreed to her being the speaker. He adds that it's obvious Terlahi was in communication with Republicans. Republican Minority Leader Frank Blas Jr. was nominated again for speakership but declined. Blas says that they have been talking with Democrats all along, highlighting that there was no obvious leadership there and that the Republicans were willing to help, but it comes with concessions. Blas says they now have 4 instead of 2 members in the Rules Committee, chaired by Barnett. Vice Speaker Tina Muñoz-Barnes and Secretary Amanda Shelton will retain their positions. A majority leader was not announced. And the requirement of a negative COVID-19 test or documentation of recovery went into effect yesterday for passengers boarding flights to the United States from China, Hong Kong, and Macau. The new CDC requirement applies to travelers 2 years of age and older, regardless of nationality and vaccination status. A release from Public Health states that passengers who tested positive more than 10 days before the flight can provide documentation of recovery from COVID-19 in lieu of a negative test result. This requirement also applies to passengers who have been in China, Hong Kong, and Macau within the past 10 days and are traveling to the U.S. from Incheon International Airport in South Korea, Toronto, Pearson International, and Vancouver International Airports in Canada. Public Health advises all Guam residents to visit the CDC website at cdc.gov before traveling internationally to review the most updated COVID-19 travel advisories and protocols. And those are your top stories. Back to Ray with weather.
Well, thank you very much. 10 after 7 o'clock in the morning in a post-pandemic world here. I say it's the first weather report on a day where there's no public health emergency. It expired. It is not going to be extended, and I couldn't be happier having been the guy that outlived all of the crap that we all had to deal with. It's like everybody, hey, you got to get vaccinated, Ray. You got to get vaccinated. No, I don't have to do anything. But be white and die. That's it. That's all I got to do. Right?
Yeah.
What? You've never heard that? No. What are you gonna? Now you're gonna tell me that's racist now, aren't you? No. Okay, good. All right,
I
fine.
will.
No. Well, okay, be half white and die. Those are the only two things I have to do. Isolated showers are in today's forecast. Mostly sunny skies, that's nice. Mostly sun. Isn't that great? The sun is out. What we're basically saying. Highs near 86 degrees. East-northeast winds up to 16 miles an hour. Gusting as high as 25 miles an hour. I got isolated showers, partly cloudy skies tonight, and overnight low should be about 77 degrees. Gusts as high as 20 miles an hour tonight with winds out of the east-northeast. Partly sunny tomorrow. Highs near 85 degrees. Still breezy in the weather conditions. Mostly cloudy tomorrow night with lows about 77 degrees. For Sunday, and I was kind of hoping that we'd have super nice weather on Sunday, but they're suggesting that we might be in for showers and possibly thunderstorms. Some of the storms could produce heavy rainfall as well. Cloudy, highs near 85 degrees. East-northeast winds 8 to 16 miles an hour, possibly gusting as high as 20. With the heat index, it'll feel like 94 today, 30% chance of rain. There are rip currents, portugee, hazardous surf warnings, pit bull, white sharks that are going to be out there that will bite you in the hiney and bite your chili off. So stay out of the water, the deep waters here today. Just stay near the shore. Sunrise this morning was at 6:45. Sunset tonight at 6:07. One programming note here: the YouTube feed is up. So I think we are completely restored today. Facebook Live, YouTube Live, ThePOINT.gu. Everything seems to be working. All of the feeds in the radio, and so it looks like we are completely recovered from any of the calamities that might have arose as a result of that early morning power outrage. 7:12. That's it. News and weather together on The Point.
For all your real estate needs, call the professionals at Hoffaday Realty. Jody, Saran, Libby, and Lolita, and they'll take care of you on every step of the real estate process. No worries. Just contact Hoffaday Realty at 588-4232 or 588-HOFFA or email them at hoffadayrealty@gmail.com. They're at 426 Challenge San Antonio, Suite 204 in Tamuning. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 4. Hoffaday Realty for all your real estate needs.
Happy holidays, Guam. From now through January 13th, the Guam Visitors Bureau is giving you a chance to win $150 in cash just by sharing your Christmas spirit. Each week, GVB will announce the theme of the week, so take your best photo or video and upload to visitguam.com/Instaguam to enter for a chance to win $150 in cash. Winners will be announced every Friday. Brought to you by GVB, making Guam a better place to celebrate the season of giving.
What happened again? Where am I supposed to? Portions of the program brought to you by GRMC Guam Regional Medical City. 713 Donna Diaz cannot stop giggling. I gave Donna the giggles. You know why she's giggling?
Why?
Because I keep talking about bite you in the hiney.
Oh yeah.
I was talking about the great white pit bull sharks biting you in the hiney. Little tiny dogging bites out on the shores here. Are you gonna be okay, Donna? No, you can't. All right, fine. Don't you need to do news with Kyle or something? Okay. 7:15 o'clock in the morning. Ray Gibson Show brought to you by APL. American President lines a global presence with a local home.
It's the Ray Gibson Show. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
I got to do a shout, happy birthday shout to Brad Wood. He's a very close, very dear personal friend of ours, and we had an opportunity to get together and eat some of Lucia's lasagna.
Oh yeah, anti.
Oh my God,
lasagna.
Okay, so no, it was anti-vegan lasagna. In fact, there was more meat in it. She got bread. They put meat in the bread. It was
sweet.
And sweet bread that we had with some garlic on it. It was really, really nice. Super cool company. You get there's Brad and Lucia.
There, huh?
What's that?
You got a nurse there.
There was a nurse. Yes, Nurse Rita was in the. Well, because we had Jeff from Pirates Cove, so we got at least one real senior citizen in the room. So she had to be able to be out there and be prepared at a moment's notice to be able to provide some kind of, life-saving treatment for the old man. But anyway, so happy birthday. He didn't say anything about it on Facebook. I didn't know until I was...
he's a humble guy, man.
I was doing my last look at social media, but while I was waiting to go into jury duty yesterday. And that's when I saw it was his birthday, and I said, "Oh, you son of a gun! You made it all the way through the 2-hour version of the Ray Gibson Show without having me mention it was your birthday. Happy birthday to you! I really appreciate the hospitality and the fellowship and the fun that we've had all of these years. That I'm no stranger to that kitchen table. So without sending too many signals, but I guess now the public health emergency is over. But that was a frequent meeting place for the renegade band of protesters. That's where we put together all of the protest banners and signs and instructions and things like that. Those were fun times, and I hope I never ever have to relive them. But if we do, I'd be happy to do it at your place. 7:16 in the morning in the Ray Gibson Show. A few other things on my mind before we get into the rest of it. Now, I suppose we might be able to. Hold on. While I'm thinking about it, let me just get this up on the screen, because I haven't done it yet. A look at what was happening with the markets. American numbers were down when I looked at them about 5 o'clock this morning, but we'll see where they ended up in this last day of trade. I'm wondering now if the lack of a speaker in the House of Representatives is having an impact on what's going on with the markets. We won't be able to see some of that. Is Tesla down? Yeah, Tesla's down by a little bit more. I have not looked at Apple just yet, but I'll see if I can scare up that number here before long. But Tesla down at 110.34. If that is not a buy order, I don't know what is. It's still, I'm sure, a fine electric automobile, but the press, I don't know if you've noticed now, the press is taking advantage of every opportunity to talk about it. I mean, if a Tesla gets in an accident, bam, front page news, move that Damar story off the front page. We've got a Tesla that broke down, went over a cliff, for heaven's sakes. Everybody lived, but it still went over the cliff, and it was a Tesla, and that's a bad thing. And we don't like Elon Musk because we are the only dealers of our own truth, not Twitter. So I don't know. Buy some of that stuff. They still make really good products. Where are we now? Yeah, the markets all ended down. S&P 500 off by 44 points. They close at 3808. The NASDAQ 10,305. And that's down by 153 points. They are the biggest losers for the day, the NASDAQ by percentage. Dow Jones Industrial average off by 339 points to close at 32,930. FTSE is up by 48. The Nikkei up by 103. Hang Seng up by 259. Good job, Hong Kong. Shanghai Index picked up 31, and the VIX is up by about 0.5%, half a point here. The DAX down by 54. NASDAQ, big losers for the day in terms of trade, but there were some winners. Pinduoduo, T-Mobile, Mercado Libre, Chartercom, and Booking Holdings round out the top 5. Bottom 5, CrowdStrike, Datadog, Zscaler, Workday, and Walgreens. Let me see. Is it time to take a look at the commodities? Absolutely. Oil at $73.82. Now, it was $74.10 when I got in this morning, and it was $73.34 yesterday. So it's up from yesterday, but down from earlier trading today. Gold at $1,838. Now, the CNBC, and it's hard to tell whether this is infotorial or what. They're saying that gold could be in for a surge into 6 months highs, and they're expecting records in 2023. So you might want to take a look at your tolerance for gold, $1,838 where it is today. That's off by 20, and that might sound cheap in a couple of months. So get with your investment coordinators and people like that and see what they've got to say. Tapas now. Tapas, you remember where Tapas was yesterday, and I was breathless? I was going, oh my God, Real Joe, Tapas at $88.21. They're going to raise the prices on us, Joe.
It's up.
It's down. It is down today, $83.16. It went down by $5 in overnight trade. So that's good news. Now, it's not enough, I don't think, for the gas companies to lower the prices. Public health emergency is over. Maybe. This is another gift for the people of Guam. It's $83.16. If you're going to Japan, is that where Jesse Lohan thinks I'm going?
Oh, yeah.
Is that where, like he knew, like the guy's been in touch with my travel agent or something. I know where you're going, Ray. I know what you're doing, Ray. 133.2 yen to the U.S. dollar. Kijitsu Online in Japan might give me a different figure. $55 and 55 pesos. It will get you a greenback if you're moving in that direction, or one greenback will get you 55 pesos in the Philippines, and the won at 13 1376. I think that's where that number is. Now, Guam. We've got there are a number of Koreans and Korean interests here on Guam, including the folks over at Lodi Duty Free. Maybe you've heard of them. They've got one at the Guam International Airport, etc. They've got a new campaign to incentivize Korean customers. And this, I love this story. And you might be wondering, well, what's that have to do with Guam? We're not in Korea. But wait, in celebration of the Year of the Rabbit, Lodi Duty Free is holding its first marketing campaign of the year, Jumpin' New Year, for Korean customers until the 5th of March. A Lodi duty-free official said, we are holding various gift events and discount events for customers traveling abroad during the Lunar New Year holiday. Jumpin' New Year incorporates a number of shopping incentives and giveaways, such as 2 tickets for 3-night trip to Guam.
Wow, that's nice.
We're a grand prize.
Yeah.
Guam, a trip to Guam, is a grand prize at Lodi Duty Free.
You sure it's not a baby grand?
No, it is the Guam. Let me see. Discounts up to 80% on well-known brands. The Guam trip, allocated to 2 customers spending the high sums of money in its shops over the event period, includes round-trip ticket with Korean Air and a voucher to stay at a Lodi hotel, which we've got right down the street from here. Is the Lotte Hotel. In addition, domestic customers who purchase goods over $300 at Lodi's downtown store and $100 at the retailer's Incheon Airport store will be given the opportunity to win a stay at Lodi's Hotel in Guam through a lottery system as well. So we've got 2 sets of trips to Guam that are the grand prizes. I mean, this is a huge. Lodi is not a small store. This is a major deal in Korea and a major shopping big deal that they're going to be having. And Guam is the grand. A trip to Guam is the grand prize. Don't you want to stand up with your hand over your heart? What's the Korean words for that song? We got a Donna.
I don't know.
She just kind of walked in. She's back. She's back from the. Are we done talking about hiney biting?
Yes.
No. We'll make that a topic for the program today. Hiney biting. 22 after the hour here, and this is a big deal. I don't know if former Governor Carl T.C. Gutierrez has seen this, but I'm gonna make sure that he gets a copy of this so that we know who our friends are in Korea and what they are doing to beef this up. Look, not everybody obviously is going to win the ticket, but they will play. There's going to be a lot of people that will be playing for the opportunity to win a trip to Guam. I mean, that's good for awareness in a town where we could always use a little bit more by way of awareness for our hospitality industry. 7:22 in the morning. Are there other big important things that we get to talk about in the hospitality industry? I mean, no. Is that going to be interesting? Hold on. There's this story here that I might get back to a little bit later on. And it has to do with what some people are referring to as a hack, a parenting hack. Okay, so the way it works, there seems to be a growing number of parents for whom, we don't need a babysitter. We've got these baby surveillance cameras that attach to the internet, so we can leave the baby in the crib and we'll just go to the beach. What?
No, you can go on vacation, Ray, actually.
Parents have long struggled to find a trustworthy babysitter on short notice. In our current high-tech age, however, some folks think they've found a solution to the problem. Authorities say they're discovering more and more people who leave a baby monitor in charge of their kids while they go out for a while. This sounds like a bad idea.
No, actually, they have feeding stuff like for pets.
Yeah.
You can set that up for snacks and it'll just drop snacks for the kids.
So the kid just needs to crawl over to it and like
set
pat
up
on
a
something.
water bowl.
Yeah, take a sip. And then they've got those cameras, bidirectional cameras,
God,
right?
That's so rude.
So the baby can see you, you can see the baby, and there's microphones and speakers, so you can talk to the baby, and the baby can talk back to you, and you don't have to pay the babysitter or drop it off at grandma's house or daycare or anything. Thomas, what? There's more of the story. Quote, we do it all the time. For some people, like 31-year-old mother in North Carolina, it's simply no big deal to leave even very young kids home alone, at least for short periods. Nicole, who used a pseudonym to share her experience, confirmed that when she and her husband planned a beach outing, they went for a stroll while their 1-year-old was inside their rental property with a baby monitor in charge. She explained, they sat on the beach, watched the monitor. Quote, we do it all the time. There's no point in having a babysitter. We frequently go back and check in on him as well.
Oh, nice.
I'm not kidding. This is a real story.
Studies show those kids grow up to be very independent.
I'm sure they are. Well, I like to refer to them as free-range kids.
Free range.
range.
Free range kids. I tell you what. This is the kind of dad I am. This would not have worked for me when Mayumi got old enough to want to go and hang out with the kids down the street.
Oh yeah.
We went to Home Depot, and we bought those camping radios. You know, the little two-way radios that they've got, their little Citizens
Line of
man.
sight
Yeah.
radios.
And that was the deal, right?
Come in, Dad.
Oh, and we're talking about literally she wanted to go and play at her friend's house that was like, I don't know, 3 doors down from our place. But that was the deal. Is you need to? I'm going to give you this, and I'm going to check in on you every few minutes, and then you check on with me every few minutes. Which was a laugh to the parents of the other kids who are like, oh, these kids, they can walk to the mall from here if they want to. What's the big deal? And I'm going, hey, I'm just not ready to free range my children like you are. 7:26 in the morning.
Yeah, but it only takes a few seconds for anything to happen.
Oh yeah.
With kids, they move so fast, especially the toddlers. And even with babies, you get stuck in the thing and they roll over the wrong way. But it's only like 2 minutes. They're
okay,
it's
Don,
going to take you
you
how
gotta
long
have
to
a pit
get
bull.
there from the beach? 15?
It's important to have a pit bull in the house.
Let the dog watch the baby. I'm not recommending this. This is not.
No, but that's crazy that they do that.
Well, there's crazy people all over the place.
Yeah,
for
okay,
heaven's sake.
yeah,
Have you not been watching the legislature?
No.
There's Donna D earlier this morning talking about there's pouting. There's pouting going on over at the legislature. Anybody that is not in the Republican Christian minority, that's all
We're
I'm doing.
reading body language when we watch those things.
Apparently, I don't know. I got to get the video. Somebody find me the video. Donna, can you find where in the YouTube the video is? The guy, Nick Perlowski. Let Nick find it. We're all three of us are unbelievably lazy. All right, so maybe while Jerry Roberts is doing the extra point, I'll see if I can find it on yesterday's YouTube of the legislative brouhaha and see who clapped, who did not clap when Therese Terlai went up and gave her winning speech. Over at the legislature. Jerry Roberts now being brought to you by First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes. Jerry?
Would you say that you're a risk taker? Do you step up or step out when others would choose to step back or step away? We'll take a good look at what a notable group of people thought about taking risks, and that's next on The Extra Point.
Fly even higher and get to your destination with the United Credit Card from First Hawaiian Bank. You can earn 40,000 miles with $2,000 worth of spending within the first 3 months. That's 40,000 reasons to get on board with the First Hawaiian Bank United Credit Card. It all starts with yes. Certain restrictions apply. To learn more about this offer, visit any First Hawaiian Bank branch or go to fhb.com/United.
Hafaday, this is Severina. Here at APL, our expertise and extensive network can help you grow your business and reach out to more global markets. As a responsible carrier, APL is also committed to a sustainable future, whether it's protecting the environment or investing our efforts in giving back to the community. Our dedicated teams in Guam, Saipan, and on U.S. mainland are here to support you. Call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com.
Today, it's about quotations that are about risk. Let's get rolling. We start with some great advice from poet and publisher T.S. Eliot, who said, "Only those who will risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go." If you have a distance calculator, please tell me, number one, how far is too far? And number two, how far is not far enough? Those questions can only be answered by figuring the risk and the reward, right? Jim Rohn, motivational author and speaker, said, "If you are not willing to risk the unusual, you will have to settle for the ordinary." As they say, no risk, no reward. Author Leo Buscaglia drives this point home more forcefully. He offered, "The person who risks nothing does nothing, has nothing, is nothing, and becomes nothing. He may avoid suffering and sorrow, but he simply cannot learn and feel and change and grow and love and live." Woo. When it comes to risk, Chuck Yeager, Air Force test pilot, once said, "You don't concentrate on risks, you concentrate on results. No risk is too great to prevent the necessary job from getting done." There's not much riskier than flying very high and very fast, much of the time in experimental aircraft. Yeager was something. Educator Claude Bussell would fit right in with Yeager. He said, Risk more than others think is safe. Care more than others think is wise. Dream more than others think is practical. And expect more than others think is possible. Some folks need guarantees that everything will turn out okay before they'll move forward. That wouldn't work with President Jimmy Carter, who said, "Go out on a limb. That's where the fruit is." One of the biggest opportunities in technology is also one of the biggest threats to mankind. Theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking had this to say about artificial intelligence. Success in creating AI would be the biggest event in human history. Unfortunately, it might also be the last, unless we learn how to avoid the risks. Here's the reality of risk and reward as it applies to the general workplace, courtesy of engineer and physician Peter Diamandis. If someone is always to blame, if every time something goes wrong, someone has to be punished, people quickly stop taking risks. Without risks, there cannot be breakthroughs. Here's another chunk of reality, this time from an anonymous source. Opportunity dances with those on the dance floor. I like what screenwriter Neil Simon once said. If no one ever took risks, Michelangelo would have painted the Sistine floor. We'll close off this treatment of risk with the words of another anonymous contributor. Ignore the risk and take the fall. If it's meant to be, it's worth it all. That's the extra point. Be responsible and make something good happen today. For 93.3, The Ray Gibson Show and First Hawaiian Bank. I'm Jerry Roberts.
7:31 in the morning. Jerry Roberts back in studio with us on Monday. Looking forward to that because, frankly, I miss him. Although while he was online, I did have a chance to take a look at a couple of things. The dashboard that shows me among some of the very interesting places where people are listening to this broadcast. There's Hawaii. Looks like we might have some folks out in Quezon City in the Philippines watching the broadcast or listening to the broadcast. Japan. There are Brussels. I think Germany might be listening, but this is interesting. It is showing me at least one listener in Kiev, in Ukraine.
You mean Kiev?
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I don't know.
No,
I was
right.
mispronouncing it or whatever it is. Can I mispronounce it? We'll send you another $1 billion if I can just continue to mispronounce it. 7:32 in the morning, and yes, I am going to bargain tactical a little bit later on, and I'm going to dress up one of the dummies to look just like Zelensky, because that's all he wears, right? Is the 5'11" tactical clothes?
Yes, he's ready to rock and roll.
Whole kind of uniform. He just needs the hat like Fidel Castro. Anyway, 7:33 in the morning. In the Ray Gibson Show. Donna D is going to take care of news and big headlines being brought to you by Rudy Rodolfo and the guys over at Burger King. I was talking about Monday being a big day because got Jerry Roberts in the studio. Here's another reason for Monday being a big day. We've got some significant love coming in on Monday. If you hit the drive-thru over at BK, Super Drive-Thru Appreciation Day, every 10th guy is going to get something free. Whopper coupon, that's what it is, at Tumon Bay. Anagon, you rule at BK. Also check out the Italian Royal Crispy Chicken to save for a limited time. 588-4232, that's the phone number to Hoffa a Day Realty. Huh? Who are these people? You know what? They're as powerful now in the real estate business as Chris Barnett and the Republican minority at the legislature. You just take that kind of power at the legislature and translate that into real estate. It's what these guys are all about. Make your dreams come true. 588-4232. Again, 588-4232. Or email hoffadayrealty@gmail.com. Now with news and headers, here's Donna D with a look at all the big stories today. But Donna, what happened?
A Navy sailor accused of drowning her 1-year-old baby girl will be released from DOC on Monday. 29-year-old Aisha Copeland appeared in Superior Court yesterday, and plans have been made for the military to take over custody. The case will be transferred to another jurisdiction, meaning it will be dismissed locally. Her defense told the court she would be transferred to San Diego, California. And former Superior Court Judge James Canto has joined the Port Authority's legal team. He served as a former Deputy Attorney General, Assistant Public Defender, and Chief Legal Counsel to former Governor Eddie Calvo. Canto says he wants to use his experience to advise port management and to craft and manage port contracts. And the governor's executive order relative to extending the COVID-19 public health emergency officially ends today. Communications Director Crystal Paco San Agustin confirmed this morning that Governor Lulian Guerrero is not planning to issue any orders to extend it. And those are your local headlines. Back to Ray.
All right, thanks very much, Donna. 7:35 in the morning, and while Jerry Roberts was reciting the extra point this morning, I also had an opportunity to take a look for and put up on the screen some of the images from yesterday's gathering over at the legislature. On the screen is Chief Justice Phil Carbolito, and I have not yet seen this other than just kind of scrolling through it, but finally an opportunity for all of us to see and hear what it sounded like yesterday. I want to say, if I'm doing this right, I picked it up right about where the CJ hands everything off to Therese Terlai. So let's find out. Let's find out if my guess is right. Go. Talk. Oh, he's counting. Must be counting the votes.
So the results of the votes by a show of hands in the order of the nominations, Senator Therese Terlai received 9 votes, and Senator Joe San Agustin received 6 votes. Therefore, Senator Therese Terlai, having received the majority of the members, is duly elected as the Speaker of the 37th Guam Legislature.
Wait, who's not clapping?
Oh, yeah.
Madam Speaker, you may come forward for your inaugural address and preside as chair for the remainder of the first session.
Woo! Wow.
And congratulations.
Looks like Chris Barnett reaching over to Santa Claus.
Who's that?
This is Dwayne. Okay, so she's making her way up. I'm actually...
That's Mr. Goodman.
Yeah.
I guess.
This is the guy we bought our lights from. Okay, all right. So it'll take a second for them to get through all of this, but I did kind of want to, I do want to roll back on that scene to see who was not clapping. Everybody else was clapping, the entire front row. Arguably, Therese did not clap for herself, but did you see the mudzo on Joe S.'s face when that happened? Okay, let's see.
I want to thank our Chief Justice Carbolito for being patient with us and presiding over our inauguration 2-day festivities. But Sijus Masi, CJ. I want to say buenas and hafade to my colleagues, Emmanuel and Mananao, our friends, our family, our neighbors, our colleagues, and the proud people of Guam. I stand here today and I think about all the great leaders that have graced these hallowed halls, who have cleared the path for us with their acts of service, leadership, and fearlessness, and they continue to inspire us. In March of 1949, concerned about limited legislative powers, the Guam Congress staged an act of defiance in protest against the naval government, drawing national attention in its quest for self-governance, which has since become known as the walkout. Assembly Speaker Antonio B. Wampat stated in a letter to the Naval Governor Pownall in 1949, the members of the House of Assembly consider that the powers of the 3 branches of government must be defined. It is further believed that only then can you and your staff, the legislative and judicial branches of the naval government, assure the people of Guam of the full functioning of the democratic processes of government. In the meantime, the members of the Assembly do not feel that they can appear to have the status of a legislative body without the proper powers to carry out that function. Unquote. And every legislature since that walkout has inherited the responsibility to build upon the progress of our predecessors who fought for more legislative authority for what was at one time an advisory body to a plenary power. And we must continue to embody their spirit today and every day forward by diligently and responsibly exercising our authorities of oversight and policy making. This beautiful Guam Congress building symbolizes the determination of those before us who fought for self-governance so that we are empowered with greater authority over our land and all our resources and the administration of laws that affect our lives. Henceforward, we have the privilege, colleagues, of doing the people's work in this very significant and historical place. A thought not lost upon me as I entered these doors every day for the past 6 years. It is incumbent upon us in the 37th Guam Legislature to uphold their legacy, to promote opportunity and the prosperity of all the people of Guam. Today, I'm proud to share this room with 14 colleagues, some returning from the previous term, some returning to the legislature from prior terms, as well as those who have taken elected office for the first time.
Okay, now you can find this on YouTube, so I'm not going to go ahead and play the entire thing. But I do want to underscore what she was saying, and it's fitting that she started those welcome home remarks with a little bit of that history lesson, talking about how important it was for people to demand for and stand on their rights where they were in the government, and including now the legislature. Read between the lines, kids. She was talking about the legislature taking back the spirit of a co-equal branch of government, not just people that are supposed to do the bidding of Adelou, regardless of who the governor is. So I say congratulations to you, now Speaker again, Therese Terlai of the 37th Guam Legislature. Keep batting him out of the ballpark. We will get word from. I don't know what his position is. I don't know whether he's gotten any committees, conversations going on, or whether he's even the leader of the Republican minority at the legislature. But it's almost become tradition this week that we spend a little bit of time in the 7 o'clock hour talking with Frank Bloss Jr. He'll be coming up in just a little bit. 7:41, traffic and more on the way.
Have a day and a happy new year from KFC. And me, I'm Colonel Sanders. And to kick off the new year, I'm bringing back one of my best deals, the $25 fill-up bucket. That's 10 pieces of original recipe drumsticks and thighs with 2 large sides of red rice for only $25. It's the highest caliber meal for you to spend less money. KFC's $25 fill-up bucket is available at all KFC restaurants island-wide and here for a limited time. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Check out the newest hydro and garden center to hit Guam, Crop King Hydro. We have a huge selection of plant nutrients, soils, hydroponic mediums, organic pest control pumps, plant support, tools, and so much more. Call 635-4769. 635-GROW. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6 at the Dededo Satina Mall, right across from Payless and Paradise Fitness. For whatever you grow, think Crop King Hydro. Crop King Hydro.
7:42, Ray Gibson Show. There it is, the traffic noise. Let me see if I can get some traffic information up on the screens right now. Let me see. It's up on mine. Click. Now it's up on your screen. This is what it looked like about an hour ago, and you can see some of the spots that are running busy. Some of it because there's a lot of traffic. Some of it maybe because of the power outage that might have affected lights. We'll see how it plays out for you on your particular journey to wherever it is that you are going. Not a whole lot happening up in the Jigo area. All the traffic now is concentrated either in Dededo or getting into Dededo. Waisangsong, the area running into Waisangsong, running fairly slow this morning. We've got all of the intersections, Atacao on one side, you got the KFC on the other. Fairly busy through there. Let me see, where else do we have lousy traffic? Harmon Loop, and then we've got the intersection of 1 and 3, 1 and 16. 16 busy all the way to 8, 10, and 16. All three directions running slow at 8, 10, and 16. 10 and 15, not so much better. A little bit of traffic at 4 and 10. Ugly on Route 4 getting into town. Looks like everywhere you're going is towards the downtown Agutnia area in Sinahanya and Ordot, running fairly busy. Marine Corps Drive in the Tumon-Tamuning area, not so bad at all. A little bit of dog and out traffic on Route 8. And then we got Marine Corps Drive from Ganya all the way down to Big Navy and Sumai. Looking pretty good right now. Remind me, though, before too much longer, I might even have the thing up on the screen. Stand by. I want to see if I can get an image that I'd taken from the newspaper this morning. Expect lane closures and traffic delays in preparation for transportation of oversized cargo for the new Ugadu power plant in Dededo. There are going to be some work taking place this weekend. Route 1, Marine Corps Drive, and Route 4 over at the Paseo Loop from 6A to 6P. All northbound and southbound lanes will be closed in 5-minute intervals through there. Hey, while you're working on that, can you do me a favor? Can we make it so that you can make a left turn from Marine Corps Drive on Route 1 onto Route 4 instead of going around that damn loop? Is it can we?
I don't know, man.
Why do we have to go through the loop? I don't get it.
Because you got to see the rear end of Chief Kapua.
Just make it. Just go. I just want to go
always
left.
look at his butt, man.
The Koreans do it when nobody's looking. The Koreans are doing it. They get their thing that says it's an intersection, right?
Ray.
What?
People are not used to that, man.
I don't. It's a stupid loopy thing. It's a waste of time. Anyway, so and gasoline. You know, gas not cheap. I'm sorry. I digress.
Friday, Ray.
Route 1, Marine Corps Drive, and 5th Street. Bet you a dollar you don't know where 5th Street is. No? It's in Agania.
It's after 4th.
It's over by the GCIC building.
Oh, that's where it is. I thought it was
after
near
4th and before 6th.
I thought it was near.
Todi?
No.
Todi is 9th.
Chinfi. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But anyway, okay, so nobody knows it is 5th Street. It's the Turn by GCIC building from 9 until 3 next Wednesday. Single lane closure, northbound and southbound. All other lanes will remain open for you. Can I make another suggestion there? Can we put that light in blink mode most of the time? It doesn't need to stop traffic for people. That all you want to do is turn left on Marine Corps Drive onto 5th Street around the old cinema theaters, the Agania Cinema. Just make it just a blinky light, and then if nobody's coming, go ahead and make that turn. When it's busy, drive time, yeah, okay, we'll put the light into effect, but otherwise, let's make it a blinky thing and let drivers do what drivers know how to do. 746 on the Ray Gibson Show. You're going apoplectic in there. Who's on the phone?
I've got 2 senators on the phone right now.
No.
Line 2, Senator Barnett. Line 1, Senator Frank Bloss Jr.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to go through this real quick because I've had Frank Bloss on at 7:45 every morning. Chris Barnett, on the other hand, we haven't been bugging him for good reason because he's been setting up his press operations, number one, and setting himself into easily some of the most powerful positions that are going to be seen in the 37th Guam Legislature. Havadero, my classmate, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, Ray.
I'm so glad. I'm a little bit disappointed that my referring to you as Speaker Bloss was somewhat premature. Sorry about that.
No problem. It just shows that I can keep a secret from you.
Well, and you did a good job. Had you on all the time. I don't know that you weren't disclosing anything. Maybe I just wasn't asking the right questions. But it looks like what's done is done now. An unbreakable body of my Republican minority working with what looks like the Democrat breakaway minority to put Therese Terlahi back where I think you and I both agree she belongs as the Speaker of the 37th Guam Legislature.
Well, obviously, as a result of the negotiations and what we were doing, that was the person that we had voted for.
Well, I'm absolutely delighted. So was there? I don't know that there's I get the sense. I'm sorry to spit this out here. I get the sense that there might have been a whole lot of negotiations and horse trading. Was there? Can we talk about that now?
Yes, there was. There was constant communication, I think, over the last 3 days, and it was a lot of back and forth. There was push and tug. There was.
Well, but with who? With Chris and Sabine and Speaker Terlahi, or was it with Tony Babauta and Joe S?
I never had an opportunity, nor would I would have entertained a conversation with anybody outside of those not elected by the people of Guam to serve in the 37th Guam Legislature. I did extend the opportunity, the ability to be able to do this. I think that from what we were told, there was some, I guess there were some orders, for lack of a better term, to stay away from negotiating anything with us. And that's that process. That's something you got to ask Chris. We weren't privy, and nor were we the fly on the wall in their caucuses or what was happening on that side. I do know that with regard to our side, we kept our doors open. We kept our lines of communications open up until times that we knew that if it's one thing to say that we've negotiated, but if the negotiations was to start on the 11th hour, it's really not going to get anywhere. So this has been something that we worked on prior to even going on the floor, because we recognize as Republicans the leadership wasn't in place.
Well, it always felt like, and I talked about this. We've spoken on it. I've always thought the smart move would be for the 3 Democrat breakaways to join with the Republicans, because they already knew that they could probably count on your 6 votes. But it sounds like everybody got kind of what everybody wanted. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you being on the air with me every day this week as we watch this drama.
He's got more information than me.
All right. Well, let's see if I'm more successful getting him out of him than I was with you.
All right, my brother.
All right, I'll talk to you pretty soon, Darryl. I'm going to kiss to Tilly. I'll see you soon, 7:49 in the morning. And now, welcome to the broadcast, Senator, not Senator-elect, and leader on the Committee of Rules. You got education, which I know you wanted, and public safety, which is, I think, is absolutely fantastic. I can hardly wait to see the interface between you, the chief of police, and the new Attorney General, Doug Moylan. Good morning, Chris Barnett.
Good morning, Ramon. Thanks for having me. Good
And the malfunction, boy. You broke the legislature.
Yeah, like I did what I had to do. I think the first order of business coming in off the election was to really keep Therese Terlaia as the speaker, and I got to say it was a rough ride, but we really tried to resolve it in the Democrat caucus. But I think with some of my Democrat colleagues, they spent the entire campaign in lockstep with Lou and Josh. Maybe they didn't have the highest opinion of Speaker Terlahi, but the only opinion that matters to me, Ray, and I think to a lot of us out here, is the opinion of the people of Guam and the voters of Guam. And I just felt like I keep saying I wanted to protect the sanctity of those election results, and fortunately the Republicans did the right thing, and we were able to do that yesterday at the Guam Congress Hall.
Well, and there's any number of views and conversations that have been taking place about the nature of how this works over at the legislature, and I appreciate, among many things, it got into a debate with somebody who said that you and Therese didn't have the mandate. Didn't have the mandate of a number of Democrats, but they certainly have the mandate of the voters. Therese Terlaia was the #1 vote getter. It's very clear that the people appreciated her leadership in the legislature. You were the #2 vote getter, and I think it's clear that there were expectations for you to do exactly what you did, and that is work not for the Democratic Party of Guam, but to get the work done for the people. And so I'm right here. Want to be the first to publicly applaud you and Therese and Sabine. I got to say that was kind of unexpected.
Thanks, Ray. I mean, I felt like that was always the play, but like I said, we had really tried to resolve it with the Democrat colleagues. But at the end of the day, what the Republican minority, the changes they're asking for out of the standing rules, I really felt like granting them those changes really made us, to quote my kids, super duper checks and balances.
Yes. Yes. Well, and that's the important thing. So thanks very much again. It's time for civics lesson. The checks and balances. That's why we have 3 branches of government. It's not so that the legislature can do the whims of the administration. It is the legislature's job to check the power of the governor, and it doesn't matter whether it's Lulian Guerrero, Eddie Calvo, Felix Camacho. That's the job of the legislature, to get all of that done, to make sure that they are working within the confines of their authorities and their responsibilities, and the legislature is working in the confines of their own equal but separate branches of government.
Right, and I think what's happened over the last few years is politics has gotten really personal, where you have someone like Speaker Therese Terlaia, who's presided over the legislature, I think, fairly. And I think if you put Joe San Augustine and Therese Terlaia on a table and you ask the Republicans who they vote for, just, all things being equal, I was thinking they'd be more inclined to vote for Therese Terlaia, because she kind of did them good and, did the Democrats good as the Speaker of the 36th Guam legislature. Mm-hmm. But, they saw that weakness, and they took the opportunity to strike. And I think, at the end of the day, we didn't give them too much. I think we gave them enough to be able to do what I want to see done, which I want to see both, sides, Democrat and Republican, work to protect the image of the legislature, and to really, our core value is to be that check and balance. And let's not take it personal, Well, if an idea is good, it's good. We'll support it. If it's bad, or you're trying to fool the people of Guam, then we'll shut it down. And I think we have the support for that in the body now.
Well, I would hope so. I spoke with Senator Jesse Anderson Lahan in the last hour, and I would hope that you were in a position to maybe support, after reviewing his potential legislation, to support that, because I think it works for the people of Guam. It would be an elimination, permanent tax holiday on groceries, medicine. I've asked him to throw in baby formula and diapers, because those cost a whole hell of a lot of money for people, and I don't see where the government needs to be making money off of things that folks need to survive. Hope that there's a long view on taking a look at what they are charging, what the government of Guam is charging the people in taxes, and putting it back to the very sane 4% that we had prior to Lou taking office.
Yeah, and I think that's been one of the most stubborn conversations we've been listening to over and over the last few years. And
right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we need a break on those items. I think also when we talk about cost of living, the Competitive Wage Act, we're talking about wages that were competitive, 10 to 13 years ago. So we got a lot of people working hard in the government of Guam, and they're struggling to make ends meet. I know you guys demonize the Gov Guam salaries, but the fact of the matter is we're all kind of in the same boat. Working for the most part outdated wages that simply can't keep up with the cost of living today. So I think we need to look at all of those things, and I'm totally willing to do that, whether it's with a Democrat or a Republican.
We'll watch and see. I mean, it's there's always going to be a difference in opinion on competitive wages in the government of Guam when we aren't seeing the similar wages that are working for people in the rank and file in the private sector. And it just it seems to me you got to be very, very careful when you start making adjustments in one place. We set up two separate classes, and I think that's one of the things that we've got right now is separate classes of workers and wage earners in this community. And some people say, well, then let's find a way to artificially boost the wages for the people in the private sector, and that leads to higher costs for everybody and fewer hours for many of these guys. So I think it's going to be a healthy debate once we start getting around to it. Working with the Department of Education, I'm kind of excited that you were thinking about the Department of Education. They're going through a little bit of a struggle with changes in leadership there. We lost John Fernandez last year, and good job, Francie, for keeping the wheels running over the last couple of months. Waiting out now, Dr. Swanson coming back in, but they've got to put together a budget before too much longer. I'm sure you are, like me, wondering how it is possible that a department like the Department of Education is consistently underfunded, and we aren't giving our kids all of the tools that they need. And now, more than ever, they need them. Post-pandemic, they need the tools in the classroom to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, we're struggling with a lot of issues with education. We've got, one of the bigger ones is the learning loss that took place in the pandemic. A lot of kids stayed home. A lot of kids had struggled with the online learning. Obviously, fully funding education, that was one of the big things I campaigned on. And, we got Senator Joe San Augustine heading up OFB, so I just, asked for his early commitment. So let's give education, every education dollar, not it needs, it deserves. I'm tired of adequate. I got kids in the public school system. Again, we all know the issues and challenges, and I'm so excited to work together with the board, with the incoming superintendent, with all the stakeholders in our school system to really kind of do the right thing for education and our children.
Well, I wasn't happy with the outcome of the last budget. They took, it seemed to me, way too much of the federal money that was supposed to be going to classrooms, facilities, maintenance, and that kind of thing, and used that to prop up the rest of the budget for the Department of Education. That should have been extra, and John Fernandez and the Ed Board should have had the ability to spend those money as they saw fit. 7:57, and then we move into another conversation that you and I have only barely had the chance to touch on. That is the rampant, now it's lawlessness. I thought we had a crime problem, but it seems we've got lawlessness, murder in Agate. We've got the shooting in Telefofo at the store. We've got any number of break-ins and burglaries and things like that. New sheriff in town with the Attorney General Doug Moylan. He seems to be satisfied working with the chief of police. What are your thoughts going into this new trifecta with you over at the legislature and those two guys?
Yeah, I think we're struggling out here in the streets. I think that, the chief is also struggling and trying to get enough officers on the street. I met with him after I was elected, and one of the issues they're having is the recruitment of officers. A lot of these officers who are coming out of high school, they're taking that test to get in GPD, and they're failing. I mean, the numbers were, I think he told me something like 200 people had taken the test, only 70 had passed. And so we're talking about high school equivalency here. So education, public safety, I can see that in a lot of ways that maybe we could be holding hands with those two committees a little bit better. They've got a ROTC program for Guam Police Department and Tizen High. I think that's a good start. I'd like to see programs like that in a few of the other schools. I think it's exciting. I think it's something our kids will be into. And, we could start them young and get them prepared, not just to pass the test, but to kind of enter the police force out of high school with maybe a little more training, a little more experience than they otherwise would have. I totally support that, and I think that it's a way that we can kind of get that school to police department pipeline going. Because, these kids, we got to show them that we believe in this island, that they have a stake in this island, and I think that's a great way to do it. 7:59,
less than a minute before the top of the hour news. Chris Barnett on the line with me, and you going to help me build a new Department of Corrections while you're there?
I'll get my hard hat, Ray. I'm ready.
Come on, let's go. I'll run. I'll get all the DOC stuff from over at Benson. You get the DOC stuff from over at Home Depot. I'll meet you in Manila. We'll get that thing done this weekend, Brad.
Yeah, we got to get the work detail. We got to bring the prisoners back. I got to figure out how to get them back out here bush cutting and cleaning up our Gus Guam.
Right on. Chris, appreciate the time. Congratulations. I think you guys hit the home run. I think you guys did the smart play, and I'm delighted to see that there is a stronger sense from among members of the legislature that you are your own body and do not need to take instructions from Tony Babauta or Lulian Guerrero at all.
Thanks, Ray. You know, I think the election results didn't just validate Theresa Raleigh. I think, in my opinion, it validated the entire Democrat leadership of the 36 Guam legislature. And I'm glad, you know, for the most part, we're able to retain that leadership. You know, we've got Tina Munoz-Barnes as the vice speaker. We've got Senator Joe San Agustin as the OFB chair. And we've got at the helm Speaker Theresa Raleigh. And I'm just really ready to start sailing and moving forward for the 37th, and I'm excited.
All right. Well, we're all excited to watch and observe the first few days. Just after 8 o'clock in the morning, have a fantastic day. Call me if you need me.
That's that.
8 o'clock, here's Fox News on The Point.
The suspect in the murders of 4 college students is being held without bail in Idaho.
Brian Koberger was arraigned in Leyte County Court on burglary charges and 4 counts of first-degree murder in the killings of 4 University of Idaho students in Moscow in November. For each murder count,
the maximum penalty for that offense, if you plead guilty or are found guilty, is death and/or imprisonment for life. Do you understand?
Yes. Charging documents show Koberger allegedly left a knife sheath at the crime scene with his DNA.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. The Buffalo Bills returned to practice today for the first time since safety Damar Hamlin suffered cardiac arrest, halting Buffalo's game Monday against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Being on that field, you lose sleep, you hurt for your brother. A lot of shared grief, but to the question before, getting updates and positive updates eases so much of that pain and that tension that you feel.
Bills quarterback Josh Allen, doctors noting that Hamlin is awake and communicating through writing in the ICU. America's listening to Fox News.
It's not an accident to live a healthy, long life. It's a choice. The food you eat, the water you drink, the air you breathe. A deep, restful sleep along with exercise will put you on a good path to live a healthier, longer life. At NutraWay Systems, we choose to help people find the right solutions to live a longer, healthier life. Make the right choice. NutraWay Systems. Come by our office today. We are located on the 2nd floor of the Daily Plaza in Dededo, or give us a call at 671-864-7867.
Half a day, this is Honey. Here at APL, our expertise and extensive network can help you grow your business and reach out to more global markets. As a responsible carrier, APL is also committed to a sustainable future, whether it's protecting the environment or investing our efforts in giving back to the community. Our dedicated teams in Guam, Saipan, and on U.S. mainland are here to support you. Call 588-4651 or visit apl.com.
A farewell to Pope Benedict XVI in Vatican City.
Tens of thousands of Catholics said farewell to the Pope Emeritus, any sense of sadness matched by more welcome emotions.
I feel so blessed. I can't contain my happiness because when this event happened, I'm here.
Maria from the Philippines attended the public viewing of Benedict's body on each of the 3 days.
I was just praying for him, for eternal repose with our Lord in heaven. And the moment we left the Basilica, my prayers were answered right there and then.
The warm mood signified by the applause which met the coffin's arrival and departure. Some proudly waved the flag of Bavaria, Benedict's home state in Germany. In Rome, Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton will have a new title soon, professor. Columbia University announcing the former Democratic presidential candidate will serve as a professor of practice at the School of International and Public Affairs. Clinton said in a statement she's looking forward to educating the next generation of U.S. and global policy leaders. Mortgage rates climbing higher this week.
For the second straight week, you'll be paying more for a mortgage with long-term rates rising following 6 weeks of declines. The average on the benchmark benchmark 30-year rate inched up to 6.48%, according to mortgage buyer Freddie Mac. A year ago, the average rate was 3.22%, less than half of the current average rate. At the same time, mortgage application activity sunk to a quarter-century low this week. Mortgage rates rose through most of 2022 as a result of the Federal Reserve's aggressive interest rate hikes to tame hot inflation. Hillary Barsky, Fox News.
Another Wall Street sell-off, the Dow dropping nearly 340 today, NASDAQ down 153, and the S&P losing nearly 45. I'm Matt Napolitano. This is Fox News.
Join us at Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro and see why they've been crowned Guam's best Chamorro food restaurant for 9 consecutive years. Experience Chef Peter's candied salmon over scallion coconut rice, octopus tinactac, Chamorro platter, and their award-winning gourmet burgers. Or if you're looking for something healthy, try their keto-friendly menu. Come and enjoy Mezcla's half-a-day service at their Hagåtña location from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for lunch, 5:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. for dinner, or 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. for their famous Sunday brunch.
Is your business ready for digital transformation? The latest Wi-Fi technology is here, and it's Docomo Pacific's WorkPass, powered by Plume. WorkPass unlocks connectivity, productivity, and security tools all in the palm of your hand. Access features like adaptive Wi-Fi, guest and employee networks, evolving AI security, plus so much more. To learn more about WorkPass, visit business.docomopacific.com. Docomo Pacific Business. Work better together.
Guam Regional Medical City was awarded Advanced Primary Stroke Center certification from the Joint Commission. What does this mean? It means our neuroscience team is equipped with the latest technology and a team of the finest neurological doctors to treat stroke, which is one of the leading causes of death on Guam. GRMC, reflecting our commitment to providing safe and quality patient care. For more information about GRMC, visit us at grmc.gu, or to make an appointment, call 671-633-GRMC.
Your local news is brought to you by Nambo Insurance. Skip the line, pay online. It's fast, easy, and secure. Visit nambo.com for more information.
Half a day, it's 8:06. I'm Donna De Jesus with a look at your local news on The Point. A federal drug case from last August was unsealed in district court yesterday. That case involved drugs, cash, designer bags, ATVs, and motorcycles, and 43-year-old Joseph Michael Quintanilla being charged with distribution of more than 50 grams of meth. He pleaded guilty back in October. Court documents state that Quintanilla sold more than 55 grams of meth in Dedido last January. The plea agreement states that the feds also found 33 grams of meth after searching his home. Quintanilla has also agreed to forfeit all drug-related assets, including more than $9,000 in cash, a handful of Louis Vuitton and Gucci bags, 3 motorcycles, and 2 ATVs. Sentencing is set for April 6. And 3 men were arrested after police saw them in the process of burglarizing a Tumuning residence the suspects thought was abandoned. Officers found Vincent Petros Jr. in the residence's carport and Vincent Borja Jr. and Jason Leon Guerrero inside the residence last week. All 3 of the men told police Borja drove them to the residence in a vehicle which was parked in the carport. The owner of the home was able to identify some of the stolen items in the parked car. Leon Guerrero later confessed, saying he had heard that the home was abandoned and told Borja and Petros before they all agreed to check it out. The items stolen include a toolbox, a saw, a 32-inch TV, diaper packs, a 24-pack of bottled water, a printer, and a scale. A search of Leon Guerrero's backpack yielded a plastic bag containing meth. Borja was on probation and Leon Guerrero was on pretrial release for 3 separate cases. More news after this.
Go green, go hybrid, go to Nanbo Insurance, and your next power bill is on us. Insure your hybrid car at Nanbo and get up to $350 towards your next power bill. That's instant savings for keeping our island clean and green. Nanbo has been providing Guam with over 50 years of reliable and affordable auto insurance. At Nanbo, it pays to go green. Terms and conditions apply. Visit nanbo.com or call 477-9754 for details.
The Guam International Airport Authority closed out November 2022 over budget, and a lot of the excess had to do with contractual services such as power. Deputy Executive Manager Ricky Hernandez explained some of the overspending is due to higher utility rates, saying the typical expenditure of $400,000 to $500,000 for power went up to $700,000 to $800,000, despite usage being about the same. Hernandez notes that the airport is doing what it can to reduce power costs by examining what may be pulling a lot of power, such as taking some conveyance systems offline to lower preventative maintenance costs. While reducing costs is important, Hernandez says the airport must also ensure that it can accommodate roughly 50,000 travelers a month and make the terminal comfortable. And all GDOE students went back to school yesterday except FBLG 7th and 8th graders. FB teachers and staff worked extra hard to make sure their 6th graders were able to get to class without issues at their new temporary campus at Okudu High School in Dedido. The school began double session with high schoolers in the morning from 7 to noon and middle schoolers in the afternoon from 1:15 to 5:45. This will be the norm until their Jigo campus gets its much-needed repairs. Guam Education Board Vice Chair Maria Gutierrez was there overseeing the transition and praising the leadership at both schools, adding that everything went smoothly. School staff is asked to guide the students and keep the two schools from crossing paths. FB 7th graders start classes today, and 8th graders start on Monday. And those were your top stories. Now back to Ray with weather.
I don't know where I put the weather, and I'm going to sneeze. This you're reaching back at me.
God bless you in
exactly
advance.
the wrong time. and
Hold it, man.
And they won't clap for me.
Hold the line.
Front line over at the legislature won't clap for me. This sucks. Oh, I found it. Okay, this might be yesterday's, but so what? No, it's all the same. The Guam weather is the same, literally.
Wait 5 minutes.
It's somewhere between partly cloudy and mostly sunny all the dang time. Winds out of the east-northeast up to 25 miles an hour today and some gusts. And that's what it is. Mostly sunny today, partly cloudy tonight, partly sunny tomorrow with mostly cloudy skies tomorrow night. Scattered showers could be in the forecast moving in tomorrow. East-northeast winds blowing about 7 to 14 miles an hour. National Weather Service says that we could be seeing some showers and maybe thunderstorms come Sunday, which is suck because I was hoping that there was going to be some grill marks on. So I was thinking about, like Gun Beach about 11 o'clock. Gun Beach about 11 o'clock and just go down there and stay until I run out of beer and then go hang out over at Beach Bar and drink some more there. So that's it could be part of the plan if it's mostly sunny on Sunday. Storms could be producing some heavy rainfall and watch out for that. Heat index over the weekend feel like 94. There's rip currents, Portuguese sausage. No. Portuguese man of war. There we go. And hazardous surf warnings. No, I saw the thing. I'm going, Portuguese sausage. Like at the
Portuguese Bellotti.
Yeah. Anyway, hazardous surf warnings and more. Sunset tonight's going to be at 6:07. Hashtag tell the others. There it is. News and weather together on The Point.
This holiday season at the Micronesia Mall, shop and redeem receipts totaling $10 or more. Scratch and win for a chance at instant prizes from Burger King or Foot Locker. Or receive a grand prize entry form for our drawing on February 4th for a chance to win a new Lexus UX 250 Hybrid from Atkins Kroll Lexus. 10 lucky runners-up will get $250 gift certificates from Goodwin Travel and Tour for tickets to Philippine Airlines. Shop more, win more this holiday season at the Micronesia Mall. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for more information. Terms and conditions apply.
Have a day and a Happy New Year from KFC. And me, I'm Colonel Sanders. And to kick off the new year, I'm bringing back one of my best deals, the $25 fill-up bucket. That's 10 pieces of original recipe drumsticks and thighs with 2 large sides of red rice for only $25. It's the highest caliber meal for you to spend less money. KFC's $25 fill-up bucket is available at all KFC restaurants island-wide and here for a limited time. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
This is the Ray Gibson Show. It's being brought to you by the guys over at APL. American President Lines, a global presence with a local home. Also being brought to you by Guam Regional Medical City. Did you see what they won? They won a major award here. It's in the Guam Daily Post. Hold on. Say GRMC wins gold seal for accreditation from the guys as a result of its rigorous 3-day survey in October. And the hospital announced Wednesday in the press release GRMC's 3rd accreditation with TJC. CMS-C. Additionally, they were granted Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, or CMS accreditation, which is a big deal. The Gold Seal, a symbol of quality that reflects a health care organization's commitment to providing safe and quality patient care. The hospital has said, adding that the accreditation means GRMC has complied with the highest national standards for safety and quality of care. So congratulations. They are our health care partners.
Rediscover talk radio here. Your FM News Talk Superstation. This is The Point.
Let's see. Looking over a couple of things here. Absolutely delighted where we are now, considering where we were when the show started. As Donna was doing her last story in the 6 o'clock newscast, we experienced an outage, a power outage in the Tamuning and Tumon area, which plunged certain parts of our system into darkness. But the feed is on YouTube. The feed is on Facebook and point.gu. All the apps are working, and heck, we're even on the radio. So I'm absolutely delighted because there were important things that needed to get talked about today. We have reached the obvious conclusion now in what was supposed to take place over at the legislature, and that was the determination of who was going to be the speaker and vice speaker of the legislature, what was going to be happening with certain committees, and I could not be more pleased when I heard yesterday that Therese Trelai was going to be the speaker of the legislature. I absolutely was delighted when I got word that was the conclusion, and for me, the only thing I needed to sort out then was, okay, where'd all those votes come from? Were her and Chris and Sabine able to convince Joe S. and his, now I'm going to refer to them as the Adeloop Six? Were they able to convince them? No. They went to the Republican minority and got the 6 votes from them and got 9 votes altogether, and that is how we ended up with Therese Trelai retaining the position of speaker. Now, there's some that say, you know what, Frank and the Republicans should have held out for more. They should have held out for more. But considering their ask was not so big, that's ask with a K. Just, by the way, I know who you're thinking of.
You know me.
Massive load. Okay, I know who you're thinking of, but I mean, their ask was not that great. And you could continue to play games if you wanted to, but the truth of the matter is, in negotiations, takeaway's a pretty strong close, and they could have asked for more, and Therese could have said, well, I tried, and hope you enjoy life under Frank, Joe S. and Nicholas. Hope you like that. St. Augustine, that's what I said. St. Augustine, thank you very much. So you got to be careful. They sounded like they got what they asked for, and so, yeah, we'll support you when it comes down to the votes over at the legislature, and they did. So in my eyes, hey, a new day is dawning. Mark, do you agree?
Raymond.
Buddy.
Hey, I got some confusion for the 2023, and I need your help, considering you're a learned man.
Okay, Abraham Lincoln, Abominable Snowman, Red Rice, My Mother in the South. Those are the top 5 answers for everything.
So if that's the case, 2023 is already shot.
Huffa, what's the matter?
Hey, to correct what's his name, see, Joe, the correct pronunciation is Kiev.
Oh, not Kiev.
Nope, it's always been Kiev.
Okay.
And now you have to answer my confusion. Okay, and this is not to put down the LGBTQ element of P. This is just to correct my my political correctness. Okay, if a woman is a lesbian, not thespian, but a lesbian, and she marries her girlfriend, who is now her wife.
Okay.
Okay. Now that woman decides she's going to be a man. So now changes her name to Elliot, which is kind of masculine.
Okay.
Okay. So that means this woman who is now a man is married to a woman who's supposed to be lesbian.
No, they're both women.
No, I know that, but see, we're going by the political correctness.
Yeah.
They don't have the surgery to cover the tallywhacker, so it's still, they identify.
Okay, so we haven't changed. We have changed flags, or we haven't changed flags. I'm trying to think of. But anyway, go on. What's the rest of the question?
Okay, so now this woman who cannot technically be a lesbian because now this woman is a man who's married to a woman, which sounds natural, normal. Should I say not natural but normal? Okay, now because that she's married to a woman, she has to identify herself, not himself, not herself, but herself as queer.
Yeah.
Because it's a guy or it's a girl who's a guy who's married to a girl who used to be a girl.
Right. I'm no good at gender studies, so I try to keep things as basic as possible. If like you want to identify as a man, identify as a man. If you want to identify as a woman, identify as a woman. Whatever is easiest, and don't try to project your fantasies and your misguidances on children, please. No story times.
Now's the confusion part.
Oh, now there's the confusion part.
Yeah, okay, so...
maybe, Mark, I don't know if I'm going to be able to help you with this. Maybe the advice I can give you is there's certain nightclubs you shouldn't go to. And there might be some relatives you're just going to say, I love that new butch haircut. I'll bet you can beat me at pool.
Yeah, but see, you got to be politically correct in this culture now because you don't want to get canceled. I want to make sure that, we're all on the same page because I was confused to begin with. Now I'm just, what do you call that, twirling around like a tornado?
Well, I think the problem is sometimes political correctness is designed to do that, to destabilize you, to make you question what your belief system and what your belief structure is all about. And sometimes you just got to stand on your rock. And you cannot say just because you want to identify as a man doesn't mean that I have to identify you as a man. You have this kind of chromosome and you got these kind of lady girl parts, and that's all there is to it. And that's the way I'm going to see you. And if you disagree with it, you may cancel me in your life. I don't know that any particular group around here on Guam has cancel authority. So I wouldn't worry about it too much.
No, that's the reason why I ask you, because you're such a learned man.
Yeah, I just try, I do my best to stay out of those conversations, especially, and many of my friends fall into those categories that you're referring to. And so, we agree, and, sometimes we get into interesting conversations, and sometimes we just drink a beer and watch a sunset. And
I just want to make sure now that I don't get canceled because I cannot afford that.
Yeah, right. No, don't worry. I wouldn't worry about that too much. I wouldn't worry about that too much. Don't let your brains get messed around with all that. Is there anything that is interesting, maybe that took place over at the legislature yesterday that you might want to talk about?
Yeah, it does not matter.
It doesn't.
Because they're just as stupid in 2022 as they are in 2023, and 2023 just started.
Yeah.
You have one person going after legacy. See, Joe S. Because he wants to be the first daddy-son speaker, and he's got, like you said, that's not the Adeloop 6. That's loose six-pack.
Oh, that might be better. The loose six-pack.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter who.
Well, we could have gone with Tony's tribe too. We could have gone with Tony's tribe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter who the speaker is down there. They've dug themselves Adeloop dug them into a hole that right now, as of today, from what I heard, there is no more medical doohickey going on.
The public health emergency expired, and it is not going to be extended.
Right. So as of today, there's no more federal money. So now that that's the case, Lou's got us dug into a coral pit hole with no money coming in. Now we're going to see, she's like, okay, we need someone out. I need a yes man at the legislature so we don't get caught with our, in the deep hole. So now that she lost that one, hopefully Terlahi will stick to her guns and stick to her agenda and not kowtow to to the loose six pack. So when you look at it, when you really look at it, from today forward, you're going to find out how bad the government is going to be financially, because the golden goose laid its last egg. And the price of eggs nowadays is too expensive.
I saw that. It's through the roof. Mark, I'm going to let you run. Interesting points that you're bringing up here this morning at 8:24. And I don't know that any federal money is going to run out. There are certainly deadlines on when the government of Guam has to spend that money. And my guess is that, based on what I've heard from conversations in the inauguration, it's all going to build us a brand new hospital out at, where's it, Angel Field out in Manila. No? Eagle Field.
Yeah.
Doggone it. How come I can't remember? I never played football. That's why. Anyway, but that's the deal. That's where that money is going to go get spent, and they're going to figure out, how to put this into an account or whatever. But in the meantime, the legislature now, in my mind, has to do one of a couple of things: join in with Doug Moylan and get the investigation, get the papers from Tenden Gibetnu, that is the procurement branch of the government of Guam, and find out who has been benefiting from sole source procurement here on Guam. Who is it that just managed to get beyond their fair share of business without having to go into a procurement cycle with their competitors? Arguably, the list is out there. It exists, and there's a whole heck of a lot of money that has been spent on that, but nobody over at the legislature has been asking for it. And I'm hoping that Jesse Lujan will ask, and I hope that all of the Republicans will finally ask for a readable, legible, and understandable spreadsheet that comes out of these guys. And I hope that the Attorney General demands one, demands an Excel spreadsheet and put on a public website so everybody can see who got the lion's share of business from the government of Guam under these emergency situations, these emergency sole source spends that we've had. 825, and they haven't come forward with that. They didn't volunteer it, haven't sent me a copy of it, so I don't know that anybody over the legislature has been asking urgently for the same thing. 825 on the Ray Gibson Show. So much other going on here on Guam, because, man, it's been an exciting day. A lot going on in the world of crime. One of the things that I learned yesterday in jury duty, somebody asking me online, hey, how was jury duty yesterday? Dude, it was great. We only had 4 cases. Sweet. And they were easy cases. And by easy, I mean most of the guys that the police had arrested for a variety of crimes. Was it one of them? We got a couple of, what's the one, civil... when you beat up your wife?
Oh, yeah, family violence?
Family violence. We had a couple of family violence cases, a couple of cases, where guy gets pulled over. And it happens all the time. A guy gets pulled over for something, and he can't stop smelling like cat pee, and his teeth are chattering. In fact, there's one today, which is interesting. I had not heard this yet, but they had pulled somebody over in the last couple of days. And, in fact, this is the guy that is referred to in the front page story in today's newspaper. Is it? Let me just double check. Anyway, Marvin Hortiliano. Police pulled him over. Upon approaching the operator of the vehicle, asked for a driver's license. The operator stated he did not have a driver's license or any other form of identification. The report also... indicates the defendant appeared to be nervous, constantly looking around the interior of the vehicle and wiping his hands on his pants. Why do you suppose they do that, Real Joe? Wipe their hands on their
sweaty palms.
Sweaty palms.
Yeah.
Sweaty palms. It's a sign of nervousness. I'm trying to hide something. Oh my God, I'm in trouble. I got pulled over by the cops. I just keep wiping my hands and seeing if I can feel in the pockets of my shorts or pants. Is that where I put the ice? Is the crystal methamphetamine in this pocket or in this pocket? I don't know. I'll just keep wiping my hands on his pants, which raised the suspicion of the officer. And the report also states the officer asked the defendant if he had any weapons in his vehicle. The guy says, I've got an airsoft pistol in a bag. The officer asked the defendant, well, that's nice. He's got a hobby. So it's not just meth, right? At least the guy's got, some kind of hobby. He's out there, paintball games with his bros.
Stuff, man.
Way to go. He asked the defendant to step out of the vehicle, asked if he was willing to allow the officer to search the car, which the defendant consented to. During the search, an ice pipe was located, which contained residue. Further search revealed a bag containing an identification card. Wait, didn't he say he didn't have one?
No ID.
Oh, come on. The defendant, several baggies of white crystalline powder, which he admitted was methamphetamine and about $1,000 in currency. Does it not sound like this guy might have been on either maybe a delivery, maybe he was involved in selling some of this stuff, maybe he sold off a couple of bags and now had some cash in his pockets? Is it possible that this guy was a low-key dealer? I don't know. Anyway, so they arrested him for possession of a Schedule II controlled substance and possession of a Schedule II as a third-degree felony. Doesn't say anything about this guy being in trouble with anybody else before, but it's just one of those cases where, the cops are doing their job, The cops are going out there and saying, hey, look at that car. I can tell by looking at that car, there's a crime being committed in it right now. I'll pull this guy over. It could be for anything. Expired license plate. What did they get this guy on? Failed to stop at a red traffic light. I'm sorry. Let me just get histrionic here. It seems to me that if you were, I don't know, currently high, on crystal methamphetamine, in possession of crystal methamphetamine and an amount of cash, it seems to me that you would drive like a saint. You would drive like the instructor of a driving school. Right? Hands on the wheel, 10 and 2, right? We're going to stop at the lights. We're not even going to blow the yellows. We're going to stop for the yellows, and I'm going to make sure the car is properly registered, that all the tires are properly inflated, that I'm listening to the right radio station. You pull somebody over, I guarantee you, one of these meth guys, they're not listening to 93.3 The Point. Look, if you're a meth guy and you know a meth guy, here's a little tip. Make sure, put The Point on, because there's no way in hell a cop's going to say, oh, my God, you're like a meth guy. You're listening to Ray Gibson. Wait a second. There's no meth people listening to this program. So just put it on the right radio station, and just do one of those, excuse me, officers, yes, can I help you? You tell me what you're pulling me over for, and just be the nicest, kindest, gentlest person that you can be. I don't know how you're going to control the nervousness, the teeth chattering, and the smell like urine, but you just got to sort those kinds of things out. Bottom of the hour on the Ray Gibson Show. Coming up, Donna D is going to take a look at the last big look at news and headlines. Celebrity birthdays are also on the way on the Ray Gibson Show. Be right back.
Have a day and a happy new year from KFC. And me, I'm Colonel Sanders. And to kick off the new year, I'm bringing back one of my best deals, the $25 fill-up bucket. That's 10 pieces of original recipe drumsticks and thighs with 2 large sides of red rice for only $25. It's the highest caliber meal for you to spend less money. KFC's $25 fill-up bucket is available at all KFC restaurants island-wide and here for a limited time. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
All 3 stations, all 3 morning shows. Thanks to all the listeners for Pika's Best. Choice Broadcasting has swept the top 3 best radio stations. The Point, Boss 104, and Star 101. Top 3 radio personalities, Kyle Mandapat, Ray Gibson, and Daryl Lizama. Put the power of Pika's Best to work for you. If you're an advertiser, call 671-888-7346 for information, rates, and packages. And let us get your message out to Pika's Best listeners with Pika's Best broadcasters. And thanks for listening to Pika's Best.
Okay, I was right. So in the case, that Horteliano case that I was telling you about, Horteliano, yeah. In a hearing on Thursday for Marvin Horteliano, who was charged with possession and intent to deliver a Schedule II controlled substance, prosecution asked that Horteliano be confined on $25,000 cash bail, to which his lawyer said, Your Honor, I'm not sure why they're asking for $25,000. Could the government not see why someone who is who's a lifelong resident of Guam, who doesn't have the means to pay for the $1,600 it costs to leave Guam is a flight risk? Said Hattori before referring to the request for confinement as a boilerplate manifesto, not showing any facts supporting Horteliano as a danger to society. What? The guy's accused of selling crystal methamphetamine. In the very least, driving while under the influence of crystal methamphetamine. Do you telling me he's not a danger to society? Okay. This is maybe a reason why it's not It's some lawyers, say, yeah, as my client, I got to go to bat for my client. No, he's a good boy. He goes to church every Sunday. He's one of these guys. He shows up at church before, wants to ask the priest if hey, you want me to sweep? I'm going to sweep. You know what? Give me the pledge. I'll wipe down all, because they're methamphetamine guys, man. They'll wipe down all of the pews in like a minute. They've got that kind of energy and that kind of drive. But not a danger to society. The guy was arrested for being on a stroll like he was going to be in the business of selling meth, creating more meth users and creating more meth crime. That, if you ask me, is a danger to society. And $25,000 cash bail, ask me, ain't enough. 8:33 in the morning. Don's going to talk about that as we make our way into the last big look at news and headlines for a Friday morning. The first Friday of 2023. Alpha Donna, what happened?
AG Doug Moylan has asked the court to deny release for individuals who have recently been charged. This is in line with his goal to stop the catch and release trend Guam has been experiencing. There are currently at least a dozen individuals on that list to deny release, most of whom have past convictions and pending cases. Moylan concluded his written request saying, "When you're on meth, you are a danger to society." Meanwhile, Guam's Tumon Bay Youth Orchestra is uniting the Marianas through music in Saipan by visiting schools and collaborating for a friendship concert. Beyond that, World Theater Productions is recruiting talent from Saipan to do musical shows on Guam to develop artists who can sing, act, and dance, or triple threats in the Marianas and Guam to go to Broadway. And GRMC has recently earned the Joint Commission's Gold Seal of Approval for hospital accreditation. This marks GRMC's third accreditation with TJC. The seal means that GRMC is committed to continually improving the care it provides its patients and the entire island community. The hospital was also granted Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, or CMS, accreditation. And that was your last look at local headlines on The Point. Now back to Ray.
Okay. Just following up on something, as I was wondering where we were in the process, and Fox News reporting that McCarthy does not seem to be any closer to leadership over the House of Representatives in Congress as he appears to lose the 10th round of voting. I don't know. I don't have a picture of I need the picture of the girl, the round lady, with the 10 on her thing. All right, are you ready for celebrity birthdays, Donna D? Okay. It's a throwaway talk radio piece. It's a throwaway radio piece. But it is kind of interesting to think about celebrities that we appreciate, people with a certain degree of talent that we love to watch. And we'll start with one of my favorite out there, although he is known for being Mr. Bean, which I think is the low point of what otherwise is an incredible comedic career. Rowan Atkinson is 68 years old. Rowan Atkinson, years ago, was the star of a trilogy of stories referred to as the Blackadder series. And I was a huge fan of the Blackadder. And I'll just tell you right now, guys, if you're in a relationship with a woman, you want to get rid of her, just start watching the Blackadder series. Just just all the time.
Where can I find that?
They'll ghost you, bro. They will totally ghost you. Hey, you want to, let's Netflix and chill, and we're going to watch the Blackadder again. And they would, never mind. Okay, listen, I'm just going to come by and get my stuff a little bit later on. I'll say, you don't have to be home. I'll just leave the key under the mat. He's 68 years old. TV chef Ree Drummond, a.k.a. the Pioneer Woman, is 54.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Not bad.
Yeah, right. Okay. Alec Baldwin's wife, Hilaria Baldwin, is 39 years old.
Oh, poor lady.
In comparison, right? Okay. All right. Alec's the one that shot that one lady, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It was an accident, he said. Of course. Well, then you take a gun, you point it at somebody, and you're responsible.
A stunt gun, right? I mean, that's what happened with Brandon Lee. That's the name, right? From The Crow?
Bruce Lee's kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was that one though. It wasn't
it's the curse of the dragon.
Didn't he get? Wasn't it whatever it was the actual stuff that they put in the bullet?
Yeah, it got stuck in there, so it built up or something like that. So when the next time somebody used it, shot him with that cardboard thing, whatever it was.
Yeah,
Cork.
and just enough of it to kill him. Kenny Loggins, who's actually been on Guam, and maybe one of the best sounding and best attended concerts in the history of Guam. Kenny Loggins turned 75 years old. I was there when he took the lyrics to Forever and asked for them to be translated in Chamorro.
And then
Joe Cunningham, Uncle Tote, did the translations, and people standing there sitting in the University of Guam field house with their lighters up in the air.
I cried.
And then all of a sudden you get to one part of the song and he starts singing it perfectly in Chamorro.
Kenny Loggins?
Kenny Loggins,
oh
yeah.
My gosh.
It's a goosebump moment. Even I didn't know that he was going to be doing that. Tote was able to keep a secret, but one of those most incredible moments. Sonically, the University of Guam Fieldhouse is trash. But I remember the guys, the Shimbros guys, and everybody else that was involved in putting that together. We flew in equipment. They flew in a special kind of rigging and sound system.
From where?
It had to come in from California someplace.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in order to make the Fieldhouse sound as good as it was.
What year was that?
Oh, 80-something. Trying to remember what his big song was. One of the big songs was Forever, so that ought to give you a timeline on when it was. Katie Couric, the news anchor, 66 years old. Nicolas Cage turns 59 years old.
What?
Favorite Nicolas Cage movie, everybody? Come on.
Yeah, Valley
National
Girl.
Treasure.
What?
I love National Treasure, dude.
Face Off.
That was still
But he was in Valley Girl. I don't know if you remember.
The
that
Rock.
movie. Yeah.
Boy, he was also. I think he was also
in
in
The
Fast
Rock.
Times at Ridgemont High. I think he's got cameo in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Nicolas Cage, 59 years old. Dougie Doug from Cool Runnings is 53 years old. Also the Cosby Show. And we talked about this guy the other day. Got run over by his own snowmobile. Jeremy Renner.
The Avenger.
No, is it his birthday? Oh my God!
He's the bow and arrow guy, right?
The bow and arrow guy.
That's what I used to call him. I couldn't remember his name.
Don't worry, we'll avenge you.
I couldn't. I
Yeah.
had to ask Donnie. He's 52 years old. Other
man.
celebrities over the weekend. Charles Osgood is still alive. He's 90. Had he still been alive, and he gets honorable mention because he was the one and only true king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley would have been 88 years old today.
Oh, wow.
Man.
And if you get a chance, go and watch. I think you can find it Netflix, wherever. They did a biopic on him that my daughter forced me to. I didn't even know the movie existed. And she calls me and says, "We're going to go watch this." I said, "Okay, pick me up." And we went to go and watch the Elvis movie.
What's it called? Just Elvis?
Elvis.
Okay.
I liked it when he was thick.
The thick Elvis?
Yeah, the thick Elvis. man.
Was just any Elvis. I mean, I remember I'm watching the movie and all of these things are happening and I'm going, God, I remember that. I was alive for that. I was alive for each version of Elvis that they had out there and all the different controversies and all the different things that popped up around his life. I'm going, yeah, I remember when all of those things were happening. So it wasn't so bad, to see it all played out in front of me. Bob Eubanks from the Newlywed Game is 85 years old. And I know that many of you know maybe the most colorful punchline on a Newlywed Game question. It was where was the strangest place that you made love?
Oh yeah.
Don't blurt it out. You're gonna have to look it up. Bob Eubanks, Newlywed Game, strangest place that you ever made love, and the answer will make you blush depending on who you are. Speaking of making you blush, R. Kelly is 56 years old.
Oh,
Louise.
happy
Is it
birthday.
okay? So we're still not happily talking about R. Kelly, right? I believe I can
It's
fly.
not free R. Kelly, man.
I don't think I ever
believe
liked
I
R.
can-
Kelly anyway.
Well, then you won't like this guy. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is 39 years old.
What?
So
Yes,
young.
our favorite despot. Happy
The
39th
inventor of
birthday.
burritos.
From the Hermit Kingdom. If you're looking
Yeah.
for something to celebrate on the first Friday of 2023, it's Bean Day.
Uh-oh.
Nice.
Yeah, Philly, just plug in your own punchline here. Cuddle Up Day. Cuddle Up Day. I like cuddling. Cuddling is
With your cat?
Big spoon or little spoon, right?
You know what? I gotta tell you, and anybody knows I'm the little spoon when it comes to cuddling. I like to be the little spoon. You asked what I'm gonna lie. I'm gonna say, oh no, I'm always the big spoon, and then there's gonna be like all these women going, whatever. Whatever. You're the one you kind of back in me. Hold me now, mommy. Hold me. It's Take Down the Christmas Tree Day.
Only now.
Yeah, well, it's the 6th. Today is the
It's been
12th day of
years.
Christmas, right?
Holy no.
Past gas day. Interesting. Today,
on Bean Day.
Today is Bean Day, and then tomorrow is past gas day.
okay.
Tomorrow is also a day that we honor and respect the memory of the Harlem Globetrotters, who have been to Guam.
Oh, they came to Guam, yeah.
Yeah. Last time I saw them was I had to sneak onto Navy to go and catch them. Yeah. It was
In the trunk?
I cannot tell you how I got. I
Fanboy.
can't tell you how I was able to sneak onto the base, but I was able to sneak onto the base with my boy, with my stepson, and we went and got and at the time it's like, okay, if you can get on the base, meet me at the front, and I've got tickets for you. So okay, we'll sneak onto the base somehow, and made my way to where the Martin Luther King thing is, and met up with my buddy, and he gave me a couple of tickets and went to go and watch the Harlem Globetrotters. But they performed elsewhere. It's what else did we celebrating? It's Bubble Bath Day and Man Watchers Day.
Nice.
Huh?
Man Watchers Day.
Mr. Bubble and man watching.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Little Spoon.
Oh my gosh.
Be the
So it's basically Metro Weekend.
Rowie wants to know, can we hear the Chamorro version of Forever? I love it. I love the song too. It was never recorded. It was that I know of. There's no recording that exists of it, and Joe Cunningham has passed away, so I don't know what. I don't even know if there's a record of what lyrics were changed in the song when it came up.
Maybe Trey has it. Or Brandon, one of the boys.
Well, I'll see what I can find, but it would be kind of interesting to see if one of the bands that are out there could do that. Anyway, there it is. Those are all the celebrity birthdays, and Crap We're celebrating on the first full weekend of 2023. Make it worthwhile. 8:44 in the morning. Your plans for the weekend, Donna? Anything fun?
Of course not.
I'm going to work.
Nice, Donna.
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
work
gonna
and
work,
I'll
bro.
study. That's what I'll do. These are my plans, and I'm going to wear black all the way through the weekend. Until they come up with a happier color, I'm wearing black. Donna D, thanks very much for coming in and taking care of news and literally taking care of me and Joe. More on the way after these.
Half a day. Burger King fans rejoice. The new Italian Royal Crispy Chicken is now available. Crispy white meat breast filet topped with warm marinara sauce, melty mozzarella cheese on a toasted brioche bun. Top this off with jalapeno bites and a refreshing Coke Zero. Of course, like all good things, the Italian Royal Chicken will only be available for a limited time. Happy holidays from your friends at BK in Tumon Bay, Hagåtña, the Micronesia Mall, and the airport. You rule.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they will continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $4,100 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 671-475-4545, Upper Tumon 671-647-5626, or in Dededo 671-633-4473.
Yep, so I asked Alexa this morning, Alexa, who's the Speaker of the House? And
What did she say?
Nancy Pelosi.
No.
And I said, Alexa, you're running a little bit behind here. So what's going on there, babe? So that was the answer this morning, and might as well still be her because near as I can tell, we don't have anybody. 10 rounds that we're going to figure out what's going to be happening with McCarthy, and I'm wondering how many more votes Donald Trump is getting. Somebody actually threw his name in, and I didn't check to see how many votes the guy might have gotten. 846 Ray Gibson Show. There's a bunch of other stuff that I could be going on about this morning. We spent a lot of time talking about our leadership issues over at the legislature over the last few days. And that stems from conversations. And I got to give my sister credit because she was the first one that started talking to me about this after the election was all done and settled and the dust was down. And she said, well, who do you think is going to be who's going to be the Speaker of the legislature? I said, well, no reason why Therese can't, keep the job. And speculation was that, well, Tina sort of wants to be the Speaker again. And I thought, okay, well, that's interesting. And, by and by, Tina's name kind of drops off the list, replaced by Joe S. And was it Amanda? Was it Shelton, right?
Amanda.
What's
mentioned, yeah.
Was mentioned in the conversation. Well, that's interesting. And that was as recently as last week. And gets to be Monday, and the rest of the conversations begins to unfold. And they're actually asked the question after the inauguration. Chris Barnett says Therese Terlahi. Won't Parkinson finally got the microphone out of Chris's hand and said, no, I like Joe S. San Augustine. And then Jesse Anderson-Lahan got up and said something about Frank Blas. Now, I knew that they were working something like a coalition among the Republicans, but I didn't know how strong it was. Apparently, strong as Gibraltar, unbreakable bond between the 6 members of the minority, and that one went all the way through. And I said at the time, the smart play is for the 3 Democrats, the breakaways, to go and hang out with the Republican minority. And I'm not going to say I'm the smartest guy in the shop. Cousin Troy probably agrees with me, though I'm not going to say it. Hava, Cousin Troy, how you doing there?
I agree. You're the smartest guy in the shop.
Whatever. Come on. Oh, I'm all blushy now. But thanks anyway. No, but it just seemed to me that was a smart play. They weren't going to, they had already established, I think, among themselves kind of an independent streak away from Adelup. And more of a willingness, I suppose, to work in a bipartisan manner. And Chris Barnett just strikes me as one of those guys where, it's probably easier to get elected as a Democrat, so I'm going to run as a Democrat. But so far, virtually everything I've heard from him sounds kind of middle of the road, almost right wing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know if I put it in terms. I put it in more bipartisan terms than that. I think that the clear winners here are, aside from the people, right? Because it was a bipartisan thing that happened, and bipartisan, almost always is a good thing when the consensus, the people can come together for doing whatever is just right? But the Republicans definitely won this one, and the big loser here is Governor Lujan Guerrero, and Chris Barnett comes out as a very powerful senator after this deal.
Yeah.
And if you take a look at the things that he's in charge of public safety, public education, and the whole legislature.
Oh my God! And rules. You know what he can do. You know what he can single-handedly do is restore some dignity to the grounds of the old administration building. Can we take a look at that? And instead of the thing looking like it's all ramshackle and we've left it to the homeless, is it possible that we might be able to design a plan on that to rebuild something that is equal to what a great place to headquarters some important parts of the government of Guam as it was before?
Yeah, that, and bring back the hot dog stand. Do you remember the old man? He died, but he had the hot dog stand where he would sell all of us kids at the Ganya Bus Exchange the cigarette. Remember that?
Yep.
No,
Cigarettes.
it's fine.
Occasional cold beer. No, I don't disagree. I think there's a whole lot that has been missing from there. I'd kind of like to see the old police department return to something that feels like an Agana precinct, because it just seems to me that there's a certain degree of lawlessness in Agana that has been brewing ever since there has been less of a police presence in that part of the island. 8:50 in the morning. Cousin Troy's on the line, but I appreciate you putting it in those terms. Yes, we've got winners, and when you've got winners, that means that there are losers. And one of the responses that I got from Chris yesterday was, we'll see what the payback looks like. And I'm going, don't worry. I think there's a lot of people. I said, I got your 6. I probably should have written in that your 6 is covered by a whole lot of other people. Remember, this guy was the second highest vote getter in the legislative election.
He's got 6 Republicans, that's for sure.
And he's got 6 Republicans behind him that are watching his back as well. So I don't know that I'd worry so much about what payback is available. Now, can we put this in a long and growing list of the big L list for the Democrat Party of Guam? And let's go back to the primary election. You remember when they wanted to close the primary election and make it so that only registered Democrats could participate in that, because we didn't want those interlopers from the Republican Party coming and telling us, changing the outcomes of our election. That went over like a fart in church. And then you remember when the Vanessa leaked her own pretend ballot, and that was viewed upon as an affront, not just by Vanessa, but by the entire Democratic Party, because she was in the party at the time.
Yeah, I remember that.
So
that was fun.
Yeah, and just a continuing number of L's over the course of the year for the Democrats. I mean, the big win, they got Adelup back, but I mean, could you imagine how embarrassing it would have been to have lost Adelup, considering all of the money that they had to pour into the campaign, whether it was their money or being able to rewrite some of the advertisements for vital pandemic programs so that we were all in?
Well, they got Adelup back, but they lost their blank check over at the legislature. They overplayed their hand. They had Tony Babauta, and I heard the governor was even in one of the caucuses. They overplayed their hand. They turned their 9-seat majority in the legislature into a 6-seat minority.
Mm-hmm.
They turned the power over to basically the Republicans and the 3 Democrats as a coalition. And probably the most significant thing that Adelup lost was Tina Muñoz Barnes as the rules chair. Virtually they had Adelup had a blank check with the Guam legislature when Tina Muñoz Barnes was the rules chair. And I think up until yesterday morning, it was the day before, where I was talking to someone who worked for Tina Barnes and was instrumental in the rules committee. They absolutely were anticipating everything to be settled and for them to return to the rules committee and start administering the legislature, getting the employees rehired. So there was an absolute anticipation that no matter what happened, whether it was Joe S. or Therese Chalahi, that Tina Barnes is going to return there. And so I whatever the deal that was struck to create this new majority coalition, a new minority of Democrats, caught a whole bunch of people by surprise, at least, in the committee assignments.
So is it? I was talking with Senator Lahan, Jesse Anderson Lahan, earlier, and he's going to be moving forward with a couple of bills that personally I've been advocating for, since I was at K57, which is a permanent holiday on groceries and medicine. I've asked to throw in baby diapers and formula because those things are so bloody expensive to everybody. And there seems to be so many children being born. I don't see why the government ought to be making money off, I don't know, baby food, but let's go ahead and throw that in the mix. Also wants to be able to restore the 4% business privilege tax, and I imagine that is going to be coming with squeals like stuck pigs from Adelup.
Well, I also agree with both of those things. I would agree with getting rid of the grocery tax. I think the only problem Jesse Lahan's going to run into with the tax holiday on anything really is our bond covenant with the BPT bonds. Though I agree with it, I mean, I just don't know whether it's legally permissible.
Well, the bond covenants, weren't they all entered? Weren't all of those agreements entered into at 4% business privilege tax?
They were entered into at 4%, and we had committed 3 percentage points. But we may have begun to commit more when a few more bonds came into play. So it might actually be more than a commitment of 3%.
And how many of those had been refinanced over the years?
The DPT bonds. I think we've refinanced our general obligation bonds into DPT funds. I think that's what we may have done.
But it's an interesting conversation, but there's still no reason why we can't explore the possibilities over at the legislature. 8:55 in the morning. Also interesting that we've got somebody like a Chris Barnett who really seems sincere about wanting to do something about crime, entering into an arena where the crime and law questions and answers are going to come from him and Doug Moylan and the chief of police. I think this could be an interesting time, and I'm wondering if there needs to be a message sent out to some in the lawless community that even Chris Barnett has got his eye on trying to decriminalize the island.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm also excited about his commitment to public education. I wasn't always the biggest Chris Barnett fan, but he's starting off this term as being a senator that we should give him the benefit of the doubt and let's see what he can do, because at the very least, he stood up on that very first day. He was willing to be a voice against an orchestra, an orchestration really from Adelup, and he was willing to stand up and say, you know what, I'm I've got a different thought about this, and I'm going to say so in front of everybody.
Well, I'd forgotten. That was when we were talking about the L's of the Democrat Party. That was one of them. Was the Democrat Party trying to pretend like they could hold sway over Chris Barnett and make him do what they wanted him to do, as opposed to him being able to run on behalf of all of the people of Guam.
And I want to be clear about something. Like, I like Joe St. Augustine, too. I mean, I like Teresa Shalaki, and I like Joe St. Augustine. And my point here isn't against Joe St. Augustine, but it's really against Adelup coming in and trying to orchestrate the legislature like it did for the past 4 years.
Yeah. Well, I get the question now is, what do we call them? I'd started with something simple like the Adelup Six, but who was it? Or we could call them Tony's Tribe. You want to do that?
We're simply calling them the Minority Democrat Caucus.
The minority in the majority.
They really are the minority now. There's a new majority. It's 9-6 still, but it's no longer Democrat versus Republican. It's the coalition versus the Democrat.
But it's 9, and 9 is not veto-proof.
Yeah, that's true.
That's in my mind, that is the only thing that would prevent them from being really the superpower that they could be. You want to be able to put Adelup in check. Okay, we're going to do what we want to do with taxes because that benefits all of the people of Guam, not just GovGuam employees. We're going to do what we want to do with even Chris Duenas' Bill 11. That failed a couple of times over in the 36th Guam legislature. Now, all of a sudden, it's possible that they could rewrite that thing, put it together the way they want to put it together, and send it up to the governor's office. They've got the 8 to do it, and it is possible that there might be among the Adelup 6 or the Tony's Tribe here, it's possible there might be some people saying, you know what, I don't want to be a part of the loser coalition. I'd like to be among the winners. I didn't run to be a loser. And they might defect and follow Chris and Sabine and Therese over to this other majority of, I'm going to call them Republicans because I can. What do you think?
I love that.
I'm going to take a little bit of this because the only thing they haven't said yet is part-time legislature. But we'll leave that fight for the after they've had a chance to all get together and sniff each other around and go, okay, you're right. Gibson's right. This is okay. Here's my prediction. Watch out for defectors who will join the new majority over at the 37th Guam legislature. It's starting to get exciting now, isn't it?
Adelup should not also, even in terms of that 10, right? Adelup should not discount the ability for people like Chris Duenas, Chris Barnett, and Jesse Lujan to stand up and to communicate directly with the public.
Oh, well, they've got those guys know how to use the radio and have many, many times. Because I got to break away. I got Fox News. I'll talk to you pretty soon.
You guys have a wonderful day and a safe weekend, please.
You too, Migo. I'll see you. 888-825-888-TALK. It's 9. Let's see if we've got a Speaker of the House.
We are no closer to electing a Speaker than we were on Tuesday afternoon when they started the Congress. And something that the Democrats and some Republicans have started to hit now is that this might be a national security issue. If you look in your Constitution, the first officer that's mentioned for the United States is the Speaker of the House in Article 1 of the Constitution. The Speaker of the House is the constitutional officer for this branch of government. You have Democrats and Republicans who are starting to say, wait, we can't get briefings on important things that we need to talk about. What would happen if there were to be a crisis? That's a problem. If there's health issues out there. And so the Democrats and some Republicans are starting to hammer that.
Fox's Chad Pergram, an Idaho judge, has denied the request for the suspect in the killing of 4 University of Idaho students to be released on bail. Brian Koberger had his initial court appearance today. Court documents show that Koberger's DNA was found at the scene, and investigators say in the months before the attack, he was in the area of the victim's home multiple times. Power outages in Northern California after a powerful storm roared in, packing hurricane-force winds.
At least 2 lives have been lost, and power is still out for tens of thousands of people in the Bay Area. The brunt of the storm hit Wednesday night during the evening commute, turning creeks into rivers, stranding cars in standing water, and causing chaos everywhere. This deluge comes on the heels of a massive downpour on New Year's Eve that caused widespread flooding in Northern California.
Fox's Claudia Cowan in Mill Valley, California. Wall Street stocks fell broadly as another hot reading on the job market raised worries that the Fed will need to continue to raise interest rates. The Dow lost 339. America is listening to Fox News.
For all your real estate needs, call the professionals at Hoffaday Realty. Jody, Saran, Libby, and Lolita, and they'll take care of you on every step of the real estate process. No worries. Just contact Hoffaday Realty at 588-4232 or 588-HOFFA or email them at hoffadayrealty@gmail.com. They're at 426 Challenge San Antonio, Suite 204 in Tamuning. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 4. Hoffaday Realty for all your real estate needs.
Guam Regional Medical City is the center of excellence for general and minimally invasive surgeries like colonoscopy, dialysis and vascular access, gallbladder, skin and soft tissue, gastrointestinal tract, hernia repair, spleen, select liver and pancreas diseases, upper endoscopy, and more. Schedule your appointment with GRMC today by calling 671-633-GRMC. That's 671-633-4762. For more information, visit us at grmc.gu.
Street.
Democrat Katie Hobbs gives her first address as Arizona governor.
Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs speaking about the power of democracy during her inaugural address in Phoenix.
You sent a message that it's time your elected officials worked together to find real solutions and to build an Arizona for everyone.
Vowing to move past division and work across the aisle to make real progress on the issues that matter most to Arizonans. The Democrat succeeding Republican Doug Ducey, who served 2 terms, defeating Republican Carrie Lake in November. Hobbs, the state's former Secretary of State, campaigning on reducing costs, improving education, and advocating for women's reproductive rights. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Jim Pillen has been sworn in as the 31st governor of Nebraska. One of his first acts as governor will be to appoint someone to the seat being vacated by fellow Republican Ben Sasse, who's stepping down to become president of the University of Florida. Last-minute holiday discounts attracted a lot of shoppers.
Online holiday sales hit a record, up 3.5% from a year earlier. Research firm Adobe Analytics says shoppers were splurging on gifts despite high levels of inflation. Deep discounts on everything from toys to electronics helped attract buyers. Between November 1st and December 31st, shoppers spent more than $211 billion online. Shopping picked up after sales were mostly flat in October and early November, with a big chunk of holiday sales during Cyber Week, the 5 days between Thanksgiving and Cyber Monday. Ginny Coselda, Fox News.
Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is set to become a professor at New York's Columbia University. The school has announced Clinton will focus on international affairs, and Clinton will be a presidential fellow at Columbia World Projects. I'm Lee Silasera. This is Fox News.
Take your business to new heights with the United Business Credit Card. Earn 30,000 bonus miles after spending $3,000 within the first 3 months after account opening. Plus, earn 3 times the miles per $1 spent on United tickets through United until April 30th, 2023, and 2 times the miles thereafter. Visit any First Hawaiian Bank branch or go to FHB.com United Business for more information and to apply for your United Business Credit Card today. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes.
What's for breakfast at KFC under $3.95, you ask? What's for breakfast at KFC that's different than the other guys, you ask? KFC's chicken wrap, sausage wrap, the Colonel's chicken congee, chicken fried steak, sausage biscuit and gravy, and biscuit sandwiches made with KFC's original fluffy biscuits. All for under $3.95 and all only at KFC. Plus, with waffles and the Colonel's chicken fried rice, we've got something for everyone.
So visit KFC for breakfast today. It's finger-licking good.
Happy holidays, Guam. From now through January 13th, the Guam Visitors Bureau is giving you a chance to win $150 in cash just by sharing your Christmas spirit. Each week, GVB will announce the theme of the week, so take your best photo or video and upload to visitguam.com/Instaguam to enter for a chance to win $150 in cash. Winners will be announced every Friday. Brought to you by GVB, making Guam a better place to celebrate the season of giving.
Ray Gibson Show brought to you by APL American President Lines, a global presence with a local home. Also being brought to you by anybody else. Do I have to mention anybody? No, I don't have to. By Geraldine Datwin. That's who you're seeing on the screen right now, and you'll find out why after these.
News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. The Ray Gibson Show.
It's 6, almost 7 minutes after 9 o'clock in the morning. Ray Gibson Show. It's the last. No, it's the first. It's the first. Right?
It's not the last, man.
I don't know where
it's the last hour of the Ray Gibson Show.
There it is. My head's been in a weird place all morning long. You know, it's been the political gossip and the smart-ass comments and everything that we've been doing in the last couple of hours, having to do with the leadership question that has finally been resolved over at the 3rd 7th Guam Legislature, and what the possibilities are for people that have been, I don't know, kind of tired of the same old over at the legislature and not being able to get past what felt like the divisions between the people of the legislature and the people over at Adelup. It always felt like Adelup had the upper hand on just about everything that was moving through the legislature. And now it looks like there's a group of people who seem to be a significant majority that would like to return to and retell the story about a co-equal branch of government. And that has occupied a big chunk of the conversation this morning. There are other things that we need to talk about, but I'm going to take a break from all of that because it is the first weekend of 2023, and you might be wondering, what am I going to do this weekend? Is the weather going to be all right? Is there some place where I can go and enrich myself? And the answer to that is a big yes. There's as everybody knows, I'm a huge fan of the world of art. Right, Joe? You're kind of quiet there, buddy. You didn't just kind of lean in and say,
we have our own official artist here.
Well, here's the thing. I'm always intrigued by art because I'm so bad at it. You know, everybody's. You know, I have. Look at. You know what I got? Look at this. Look at this brand new iPad. Right? It's brand new iPad, and it's got the new iPad thing. And buried deep inside of this computer, this iPad, are a number of programs that are designed to help bring out the artist in me, and they all look like kindergarten kind of rate work. You know, even the one where you just all you have to do is fill in the color. You know, the picture's already there. All you got to do is fill in the color, and even those I kind of suck at. So I had the opportunity late last night. Kyle Mandapat next door says, "Hey, listen, I got a friend of mine that is going to be doing a show, an art show. Would you like to meet her?" And I said, "Yeah, do me a favor, send me over some of the CV." And he sent me a thing for what is it? It's an Eventbrite. He sent me an Eventbrite. First of all, what's that all about? How come I can't just show up? Do I have to buy a ticket? Is there?
No. These tickets are free.
Mm-hmm.
So we do have an Eventbrite. You know, just people want to register, they can.
Yeah.
And this is for my solo show this Saturday called Half Flower. However, you could just come through, you know, stroll by to 2 Sands Plaza at the Lee's Regis Gallery in the 2nd floor.
Okay, go and see your stuff, then go next door to Chili's and see what they've got for you. There's always something really good to eat. There's such an eclectic feel to the 2nd floor anymore over at 2 Sands because you got Chili's on one side, your exhibit's going to be going on, and then we've got the Crystals place here. Have you already gone into the Crystals place and got yourself, you know, whatever rocks you need?
I have, but I believe they've moved. So
they're not there anymore in the corner?
They're not there anymore. We have the 2nd gallery space right next to the Lee's Regis Gallery. So there's actually like an annex extended space. So there's actually 2 shows happening on Saturday.
Oh, interesting.
It's a group show. So many local artists, but yeah, it's still a vibrant building. I'm so grateful for 2 months.
Interesting community that it's turned into since COVID-19 for sure. At any rate, so Geraldine Datwin is her name, and she's just like me. You can tell by looking. We're both half castes, one way or the other. I don't know. Some people run away from that word with whatever the colonial overtones of them might be, but truth of the matter is that I am half Chamorro and half American. I refer to myself as mostly Chamorro because born and raised on Guam, never really lived anywhere else. So that's the way I see myself. And you are mixed as well, right?
I'm Filipino, but if you want to say Filipino American as sort of like a mixed identity, then I would say that too. I was born and raised in Guam. My mom was here at 5 years old.
Yeah.
My dad came here as a teenager.
Interesting.
So,
What's
yeah.
it now? So for many in the Filipinos in the community, the background goes back to places like Camp Rojas and the like. You know, is building the island after the Second World War. So you don't go back quite that far.
No.
How'd they get here? What's their immigrant story?
My parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my grandfather's sister brought their family here, the Garcias. And she was kind of the one who brought my mother's side of the family here. She passed away. She grew up in Totu. Yeah, that's where we went and had all the family parties. And my dad's side of the family, the Datuan side, he's from Pangasinan, and we still have a home in the province.
Wow.
My grandmother's home, but my grandmother's here. She has, mild dementia, so my parents are actually watching both of my grandmothers. So they moved here when my dad was a teenager. He's like one of 6. And they all moved. Some moved to the States, but grew up here. And now they live in Darito.
But there's a link back to the Philippines, and then you've got your family here, and then you've got your own existence. So how have all of those kind of collided to give you a sense of what your direction in art was going to be? And for the benefit of the viewers, I think it's the only one that I've got available to me right now. You can see a little bit more on the Eventbrite, but this is the show flyer, a solo show by Geraldine Datuan, Half Flower. Is that the Half Flower? Is that a throwback to your heritage, mixed heritage, American Filipino?
I would say actually half flower is a mix of things. It's a native plant of Guam, the nanasu. You can find it in Tuman and Retidia, and it's quite a resilient native plant. It's medicinal. On the large scale of things, talking, about the political status of Guam being in a state of in-between. So this half flower, it's in a state of in-between. And in my show, you will find that most of my paintings are half flower. They're a mix of bodies and flowers and plants growing from the bodies to sort of like point to the importance of our deep connection to land. But really also in the personal sense, it's this whole half, identity of being half American, Filipino. What does it mean to be, uphold our traditions in a modern world, those being in a state of in-between, right? And also being half Chamorro, half Filipino with my son.
Okay, so as an artist, and let me throw it back to that. I can understand the idea of the thematic of it. So how did you get to that thematic? Was there a moment of revelation where you said, okay, you just had this flash before your eyes and said, okay, this is who I am. This is what my art's going to represent.
I've been painting for the last so many years, 10, 15 years.
I paint too.
Right.
I'm almost done with the kitchen.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the hallway.
So in the beginning, it was an evolution. In the beginning, it was really like, what is my Filipino identity? How do I explore that in a sense that is meaningful to me? I don't think it's like, if you don't speak Tagalog, you're not Filipino. It's the idea
you guys
behind
too?
it.
Filipinos too? It's the same thing with Guamanians. Chamorros. You don't speak it. You don't speak enough. You mispronounce it all the time. How dare you?
Exactly. So it's sort of like bringing to surface these similar experiences of island communities, Chamorro and some migrant communities.
Yeah.
And the similar cultural explorations and sort of transforming the community through these similar experiences. Like, you don't know that I'm going through the same thing as you are, right? And sort of having a space to have those conversations is the goal of this show. So at first it was about exploring my cultural identity. That's who I am. Like, what does it mean for me to be Filipino and to uphold my traditions in this modern world and to honor my ancestors? And then it transformed, to today, I am a trained biologist and a passionate artist. So I've been in the profession of like environmental and biology. And so my experiences in that field informs my artwork as well. So a lot of native plants are in and culturally relevant, not only native and endemic endangered plants to Guam, but also culturally relevant plants and how we use both.
Right.
As an analogy to find our cultural identities as a people. It's not about like being pro-Filipino, tomorrow. It's about as a collective community.
Just being able to illustrate where we're I get that kind of in between feeling. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We are actively trying to define who we are as a people and trying to find how we make those experiences meaningful to us, whether that be through exploring what it means to decolonize.
But even in the context of other parts of the culture that we have around here, it's not, there are so many of us. There's the Chamorro Americans, Filipino Americans. Pretty soon there's going to be a lot of Micronesian Americans and Palauan Americans. Everybody, I think, is going to be struggling at some point with I'm somewhere in between both of these.
In between,
and so how do I provide the appropriate amount of respect, the love, admiration for the two cultures that I represent, to the degree that there is even an American culture. But as we continue the conversation, and then the other part of this is you're also a woman. How much does that influence the nature of your art? So we're dealing with the different identities, the cultural identities that you've got, and then there's also the fact that you are female. Is that addressed in your art?
Absolutely. I mean, I think my art will always be sort of inherently quote unquote feminine, but there are like masculine elements. But it's not really like gender is not really the main focus in my pieces. But as a female identifying person, I think the body is one way to show strength and to break out of sort of like taboos. And to sort of like empower women and their bodies, and that will show in some of the paintings, sort of standing strong. Like I have a painting called I
there's
wear my
one with a
Ether
woman
crown.
with boxing gloves.
Yeah, so that is
that looks pretty empowered.
Yes, this is called Fighting the Colonizer with My Mere Hands. And this is not fighting anybody in a sense. What it means is to actively define and actively question what it means to decolonize when you're surrounded by institutions of that uphold colonization. What that means.
That's a whole other conversation.
It's a whole other conversation.
And which colonizers are we referring to? You can do both of them if you want to. The so-called colonizers from the United States of America, or the ones that we were protectorate of for 500 years with the Spaniards. And they're between the two of those are whole other conversations about decolonization, or maybe another word for this would be some kind of a call for independence.
Exactly.
Personal independence, colonial, not colonial independence, personal independence and regional independence. The kind of idea that the cultures can be independent themselves, independent of the people that influence them.
Actually, having this conversation alone is a simple but powerful act. Like, what does it mean to decolonize? Does it mean to really like target these former historical peoples who have colonized the island, or does it mean like about academic institutions that teach certain things? And I think opening up the conversation to be had amongst the community. I hope everybody's open-minded when they come to the show.
Well, it depends. I mean, so far, I think you're using colonizers like, in the nicest form of the word. And because otherwise, you can't have that conversation. And it's difficult even for me, say, okay, mostly Chamorro, identify mostly Chamorro, but I still love the fact that there is a great immigrant story of my great-grandfather coming to Guam and marrying into the community. And some people would say that he was a colonizer, even though he's just a young Marine. He didn't know what a colonizer was. They told him to come here, and he did, and he found the prettiest woman and ended up marrying her and becoming, I think, a positive influence to the community, as many of his children and grandchildren were. So like I said, there are connotations to the word colonizer or colonial lives, and some of them I think are taken to a negative extreme, even though many people in the colonizing community have done very well for their communities and helped them along. But that's just me. That's part of the debate, right? So, but in this picture, you got gang symbols, right? What is that? There's the W and a cross and an M. And I'm trying to figure out whether that's the gang from my village, the Tota Nomads. Is that them? A little bit of a Tamuning stinger in there.
No.
What is that symbol?
That's actually a symbol that I use in most of my paintings. So for my new supporters, this is sort of like a petroglyph that I've created as an honoring of our ancestors. And I think honoring my ancestors are something that is important in my work. And you'll find that it's in many of my pieces. So it's just a petroglyph that I created myself also, as a symbol of going back to early artists, like cave paintings, some symbols that we might find. It's a blend of contemporary and sort of like an honoring of our ancestral history.
I'm a strong believer in the powers of communication and the messages that were left to us by the people that did those earliest form of communications in the caves. I think there was a story that they were trying to tell. To the degree that we're able to grasp that story or interpret that story, I think is up for considerable debate. But it's a fun conversation. Now going back to that picture, folks, you're gonna have to remember it in your head. I'd assumed that was a woman wearing boxing gloves. Is it possible that I'm wrong in my gender assignment here? Is it possible it's just a guy with long hair and boxing gloves? Is there?
It's a woman.
It is a woman. Okay.
Yeah, it's based on a portrait of my portrait. But many of these paintings are based on personal photos. I would like to one day in the future pay people to as
live models?
Not live models, but it's a very personal thing to have your portrait be on the wall of a gallery. So I would like to eventually pay people to do that in future and sort of highlight other immigrant stories. And this is a journey. This is just the beginning. This is my first solo exhibit. And so there are many other themes, like the flower in the back over here is a native flower, and highlighting that connection to the land, sort of like going back to pre-colonial times and how there was that connection to the land and how we can explore that today.
Because we didn't have Mama Toves then. That's how you get your hands on a flower. You had to go in the boondocks and go get it, or find yourself up on a cliff and going and getting the flowers. Certainly people that have the biological bend, biologic bend will go and appreciate some of this. And people that just like art and like to look at something and say, okay, what is the artist trying to convey? What is it that you are trying to tell me through your art? I think is fun and exciting. What is your process when how do you inspire yourself? It's you got this blank piece of material in front of you. I'm sorry, I'm making another assumption here because you are mixed media. So mixed background race-wise, mixed media to help tell those stories. But how do you determine, number one, which media are you going to be going into, and how is it that you developed a scene in your head and then put that onto a canvas?
I don't think I would be mixed race. I'm just full Filipina.
Oh, okay.
But mixed media, yes.
Well, I'm sorry. Then another assumption I made, because you refer to yourself in the bio as Filipino American.
Yeah.
And which in my mind I'd go, okay, there's Filipino mom or dad and American mom or dad, one or the other. But both of your parents are Filipino.
Yes.
But you are raised here.
Yeah.
Which gives you the American cred.
Just U.S. passport, American.
Good enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Good enough. But okay. So what's the process? How do you determine? I've got a thought in my head. How do I take this abstract thought in my head and create something visual out of it?
A lot of it starts with consuming, sort of like reading material. If I'm sort of inspired by something that I've read, I'll take a bunch of those books. I'll look into those books, whether it be thematic theme, like whether it be a native plant or, something about like my identity or something that I want to learn more about, like decolonization. It's not something that I necessarily have to be an expert on. Those are the books that I have in front of me. And as also technique-wise, like, Jean-Michel Basquiat is one of my influences, as well as other contemporary artists of today. I have those materials out in front of me.
Yeah.
And then I take my sketchbook and I write little squares, tiny squares, like I can, size of my hand. And and so I do a very simple line drawing of what I have in my head based on any visual, photos, family photos. I do a very simple line drawing, and I just do 20 of those boxes based on the same material that I have in front of me. Just do it, just get it out there. And then that is my first step. And then I'll choose my favorite 5 or whatever. And I'll go into it first with like a very light layer of acrylic paint, not a bold color, very sheer. And I'll just do it really fast, like a very fast, everything's dripping, fill up the whole canvas.
Yeah.
And then I'll go into the outline, and then I'll go into highlights and shadows, and then I'll get into the face, the details of the face, leave everything loose. It's very loose, it's very fast.
So how do you know when you're done?
How do I know when I'm done?
Because, I can hear...
You're never done.
Never done.
You're
never
never
done. But
done.
at some point,
you're
say,
only done when the photographer comes in and takes a photo.
and takes the picture.
I'm like, okay, well, he took a photo. I'm done then.
Okay.
But you're never done. Artists never feel done. But it's not really about that one piece.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the message as a whole. It's about the offering that you are giving. And
There's
this
an arc.
show,
There's an arc for
this
a show.
is,
Right.
Exactly. This show is an offering to the community. I have several sponsors, and thank you
You
to
can
all of
mention
them.
Yeah, you're allowed. I've got that. I've got them up on the screen. Many of them are our sponsors too. Docomo Pacific. There's PCR. Bang of Guam. I can't make out these little ones here. The University of Guam is in there. Wang's Guam Brewery. What's the rice one that they've got down there that I like, Real Joe? It comes in a black can with the little samurai guy. Anyway, so they've got a really good one down there. The Pit, GTA is in here. Opaque, just to name a few. And like I said, there's a whole bunch of little ones that I can't get. If you'd like to see the entire lineup, go to Eventbrite. How do they find you on Eventbrite?
They can just type my name, Geraldine.Twin, or they can type in half flower.
Something will pop up.
Yeah, something will pop up. And actually, you don't even have to register. Just stroll through, just go to 2 Month Sands Plaza. Shout out to 2 Month Sands Plaza and the Lee's Regis Gallery as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, especially the gallery owner, Dawn. What an amazing opportunity and person to work with. So thank you so much. I also want to say thank you to my family. This has been a huge, sacrifice, but my family knows me and how I am when I get into my art. So they're kind of used to it.
Like bodybuilders, she's making the same apology that bodybuilders make. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to do the bulk up, and then I had to crash, and so I know I've been a pain to live with for the last 3 months, but I'll be back to myself just as soon as this show is over. Right?
Well, yeah, it's been more like a year where I've been painting all year. So it's more than 20 paintings that I've done this year and last year. But in the exhibit, there will be 35. They will all be for sale. There will also be prints. That will range from $7 to $30 prints.
Cool.
So if you want something small just to take home that day, you can grab that if you feel connected. There are also smaller pieces that go for $25.
How can you do that? This is your
go to the
art.
gallery.
These are your babies. How can you sell them?
I have to disconnect. And, it's not for me. It's actually for the community. This is how we can foster a contemporary art scene, continue to foster it on this island.
Right.
And to continue to inspire, the next generations. We don't have to be out in the middle of LA or New York. We can eventually get there. But we can also create this beautiful, inspiring contemporary art scene here.
I don't disagree with that, and I've tried to support it as much as I possibly can, with the events and conversations like this. A couple of other thoughts while I've got you on, while I've got an artist in the studio. Folks, go and take a look at it, and then spend some time with the artist. Could I commission you for a work?
Oof, that's a big question.
That's why I
would
asked
always
it.
say
I mean,
I'm
just
going to
here's-
say no. I'm going to say no. No.
Come on, because get big money in here. Here, look, you know.
It's not about, I'm
No?
sorry, but it's not about the money at this point. I have a day job, and that's what sustains my day-to-day. But it's about the message, and it's about the continuing conversation. It's about bringing the people together and maybe having these conversations. We are in this whole process of growing and learning and as a community. So I think it's a collective process at the end of the day. The art scene has not been known for being very accessible. But I want to put these people that we recognize, that we grew up with, on these canvases. I think representation is important. And I want people to see that, hey, I can be up there. Like, I can do this. I can have this show in this home that I grew up in. And,
I've been calling you Geraldine. What does your family call you?
Geraldine is the name that is used when I'm in trouble.
then Jera, I want to say thanks very much for coming by the radio station. Lots and lots to talk about, and a lot of different venues that you can, little rabbit holes that you can run into based on just where we are, where we think we are in terms of decolonization, delinking, de whatever. But those are conversations that I think that are better had when you can explore maybe the topic as it's brought in from something that is should be as non-controversial as what a beautiful picture this is. What does it mean? And then you can explore all the different rabbit holes from there. Agreed, don't agree. That's the whole point of art here, guys, is to get in there and mix up the conversation. 9:32 in the morning. One last thing before I let you go. So I'm not going to put them up on the screen, even though I'm very, very proud of them. They cost me a whole $7, but I've got like 100 of these pictures of me in different kind of anime, kind of almost. They're these gorgeous. There's these shots. There's one I look like Obi-Wan Kenobi. The AI art, the Lensa stuff. As an artist, how do you feel about being able to just send images of your your personal favorite images, my selfies, up to a computer somewhere, and then bam, it spits out 100 different versions of those with me in various and adventurous kind of settings, with the different backgrounds and different clothes.
How do I feel about that?
About this artificial intelligence art
it's really
that's out
awkward. Yeah, it's awkward. Copyright, that's horrible. I don't like it. I don't. It's sad. I work so hard on these paintings. People work so hard, they put hours in, and
then all of it.
When that happens, it's just all put away, and that's why I try to kind of like make recognizable elements in my art so it can't be replicated. That's just on the art side of things. I don't really focus on that, but obviously I want I want to have my own style.
Yeah.
And I want to be recognizable as a contemporary artist. I feel a lot of pride in having some basic, fine arts background in the University of Guam. Joe Bauta, Rick Castro, they were my professors.
Oh, dude, you know what I mean? And I've been up there, and one of these days, and maybe in my next life, I got a feeling, I was immediately drawn to where they do the thing is clay, throwing statues, burning them in the
ceramics.
The ceramics. Oh my God, that looks so fun, and it's a great opportunity. But I just it's one of those things I could not figure out how to work my hands with
don't
that
worry
stuff.
About it. I can't do it either.
You can't do it. Okay, 9:34. Listen, as I said, Jera, thanks so much for coming by. I wish you best of luck over the weekend. How long is the show going to be going on?
It's going to go from 4 to 8 p.m. on Saturday. There's going to be some live music. Mike Hartendorp and Microchild will be playing that night.
Perfect.
And beyond the opening night this Saturday, you can visit the gallery all month at the 2 Months Hence Plaza. Their opening hours are from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day until January 31st.
Does this become, after the 31st, does it become a traveling show? Would you like to bundle all of the stuff up that people didn't buy and take it back to the Philippines?
Oh, back? It's never gone to the Philippines, but...
well, I mean, that's what I meant, is repatriate your art.
Yeah. No, it would be amazing to show at a gallery in Makati. Honestly, if anybody has connections who can get me there, that would be amazing.
Right on. Wouldn't that be fun? Airfare, hotel accommodations at the best places in Makati, and be able to watch that show and then tell the story, because I think there are Filipinos in the Philippines that don't understand what the cultural Filipino scene is here on Guam. Again, a unique context. This is where I was raised. This is how I was brought up, and these are the pressures that you and your family might have felt if you had also been able to migrate to where we are. A lot of different venues for the conversation. Just out of time. It's 9:36 in the morning. That's Jera. I'm Ray. Real Joe's going to play these commercials. I'm going to do some selfies with the artist and be right back.
Half a day, this is Honey. Here at APL, our expertise and extensive network can help you grow your business and reach out to more global markets. As a responsible carrier, APL is also committed to a sustainable future, whether it's protecting the environment or investing our efforts in giving back to the community. Our dedicated teams in Guam, Saipan, and on U.S. mainland are here to support you. Call 588-4651 or visit apl.com.
Have a day and a happy new year from KFC. And me, I'm Colonel Sanders. And to kick off the new year, I'm bringing back one of my best deals, the $25 fill-up bucket. That's 10 pieces of original recipe drumsticks and thighs with 2 large sides of red rice for only $25. It's the highest caliber meal for you to spend less money. KFC's $25 fill-up bucket is available at all KFC restaurants island-wide and here for a limited time. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Guam Regional Medical City is the center of excellence for general and minimally invasive surgeries like colonoscopy, dialysis and vascular access, gallbladder, skin and soft tissue, gastrointestinal tract, hernia repair, spleen, select liver and pancreas diseases, upper endoscopy, and more. Schedule your appointment with GRMC today by calling 671-633-GRMC. That's 671-633-4762. For more information, visit us at grmc.gu.
I see it, 9:38 in the morning, Ray Gibson Show. The first. I got so stuck on the last thing from last week. What can I say? It was the first Friday, first full weekend of the new year. And if you haven't figured out what you're going to do, well, maybe a couple of other suggestions might come in down the line. Watch out what you're doing on the roadways. As I indicated earlier, you might get stopped in a couple of spots because they're going to be doing work on the roads. Medians, lines, things like that, in order to make things wide enough and tall enough to take these massive loads from the port all the way up to the work site up in Ukadu. And I gotta admit that I am a fan of the sheer industrialness of this. It's not something that we see all the time, where you've got these wide loads coming down the road, and you got somebody in the front that's doing the escorting, and you've got a truck. Maybe it's 2 trucks side by side. We've seen that before. You got 2 trucks side by side, big 40-footers here, and they're all making their way up and down the roadway. Doesn't happen very often, but it has. And we're going to be doing this for some time in the very near future. In a couple of weeks, we might see that first of the large moves. And so there's a part of me that is kind of in awe of the technology, the architectural work, and just everything that goes into these big movements. And then there's other people that I talk to that are saying, just build the damn thing down in Petey. Why do we have to do all of this? My God, they're going to chip out the medians. We're going to raise the lines over here. We're going to jump out the trees over there. Everybody going to have to get just put out just so that we can move all of these monstrous technology things. Why couldn't we just leave the thing down in Petey? We can just demolish the old plants and we'll build the new one kind of on site. Why is this the holy grail of power on Guam? Why does it have to take place up around the Ukadu area? And I remember the answer to the question, but honestly, I forgot it. So maybe in the next couple of days, I'll get a hold of somebody down there and they can tell me what the big hairy deal is about that place. Then oh my God, then you got the other people that have got, that remember that there used to be a power plant down there, the old Gibson plant down at the end of everything, going, why don't we use that one? Why do we need a new one? And I think it has everything to do with the same reason why they are not going to be making, and this is kind of an annoyance here, the Dodge Challenger. The Dodge has long been at the forefront of the muscle car genre, churning out a seemingly endless line of V8-powered vehicles to meet the demands of anyone with the need for speed. With the rise of electric-powered automobiles, rising gas prices, and strict environmental regulations, it appears that the days of such cars, Joe, are numbered. For its part, Dodge recently confirmed that their final V8 muscle car options, the Challenger and the Charger, is that a Hemi, man? Will be replaced by an electric Charger Daytona SRT at the end of this model year.
Oh, nice. Batteries.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Can I just... It still doesn't make sense in my head. And I'm normally kind of a to each his own kind of individual, but it seems to me that every time I turn around, there's somebody else that is going to be removing an option from me. At some point saying, well, Gib, by this time, in another 10 years, there won't be any internal combustion cars on the road. Everything is going to be electrical. To which I'm going to say, I can barely afford electricity now. You add another component to my electric bill, air conditioning for the house, hot water for my morning showers. And for those of you that are wondering, yeah, I'll take a shower later in the day if I get stinky again. But I'm just saying, for sure, a morning shower. And I got to have hot water for that. And then somebody says, well, you're going to need to plug in the car at night. Oh, wait, so more electrical bill. And they'll say, but you're not going to be putting as much money into the gas stations as you did before. And so the conversation has to be made, well, what's the offset going to be, right? So right now, I'm good for about $150 a month at the current rate of gasoline. So will it cost me about $150 a month that I'm not spending for gas? Will it cost me that same $150 to charge the car every month? And it has not yet been answered to my satisfaction yet. And then the other part of this is I have all kinds of things at my house that are rechargeable, like a phone. Yeah. Before I went and bought a new iPhone 14, because I cracked my iPhone 11, it had also gotten to a point where it wouldn't hold a charge all day, where I would have to, at some point, usually in the afternoon.
Forcing you to buy a new one, dude.
Right. So, but at some point, the battery just ain't going to charge like it used to. I mean, it's just the thing. And so, what are we going to do when we go into the car and all of a sudden we get these massive battery banks, and they say, all right, well, you ought to have money to buy yourself new battery for this car because. You weren't spending it on gasoline all this time.
25 grand.
Yeah, here you go. There's your new battery pack. Now, I know on Teslas, because I saw something on TikTok. Yeah, I watch TikTok. But apparently, if you were to take apart like one of those little Milwaukee battery packs for the battery pack for your screwdriver or whatever. If you were to take it apart, you would run into something that looked like they're a little bit thicker and a little bit longer than a AA battery. And there's just a whole bunch of them that are connected.
Stacked together.
Right. So they're all stacked together to give you the 18 amps and all the voltage that you need to be able to run that Milwaukee piece of equipment. Well, my understanding is that when they started putting together the battery packs for Tesla, they just put together a whole hell of a lot of these little batteries. So if you were to open up the battery bank on, say, a Tesla, you would literally be pulling something out, and on the inside of it, you would have these little things they look like vape batteries. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Vape batteries. And the guy says the reason why they did that was because they're universally available, and there is no longer a license on them, which meant that Tesla did not have to create and license their own batteries. So they just went with what the shelf technology was. So you'd think maybe there was a smarter and different way to do that. Apparently there isn't. It's just a whole bunch of vape batteries. And imagine what that's going to cost when you're not buying a car new. You already know what the figure is, right? You get a new car, and there's a new battery in there. And then a couple of years later, the battery won't turn over the starter anymore. And then you find yourself over in front of Napa waiting to go and buy a battery. And, oh, my God, the costs. And they got these girls there, and they never carry the battery out to the car. I said, no, you can have that now. I'm like, no, help me. Come on, help me. I'll show you where my car is and all that. 9:45. And so there's the rant on all of that. 888-8255, 888-TALK. I'm not sure where I want to go with this, but I did notice an ad in the newspaper today that the Academy of Our Lady of Guam is looking for a science teacher, Real Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Science.
I'm going to teach you how to hotwire a car.
Weird science.
Science. That's science. I don't think I could teach science in 2000. No, not after COVID. Not after COVID. Not after, follow the science, all that crap. I just don't know that I'd be able to. I don't know that I'd be able to get through it. Let me see. But I loved science when I was a kid. I had Sister Elaine when I was at Cathedral Grade School. Sister Elaine Camacho. It was just she was absolutely terrific, and she would do. My favorite ones were when we'd conduct experiments in the class. And I remember once she did the process of God, I forget what it's called now. But we had a couple of electrodes.
Osmosis.
No, we had a couple of these electrodes in the water. And you use the electricity to separate hydrogen and oxygen.
Oh, it's like plating.
Like plating, yeah. but there was nothing for anything to attract to. So it was just the water and using electricity to separate the hydrogen and the water. And so you get the hydrogen, and it was cool because hey, look, it's hydrogen. You know what you can do with hydrogen?
Oh yeah,
and she
kaboom.
put a lighter under it, and pow. Whoa, my eyes are completely open. Oh, my God, we can burn that. This is great. Let's do that some more. Can we use that to make cars go around? Can we use that to make cheap electricity? I was in the 6th grade at the time, and the answer is, of course we can. But
Free energy, Ray.
We've got to tell the military economic industrial complex that we want them to do that. But we're so invested in other forms of electricity. All right, just real quick, let me just see who's playing around with us this morning. Frank Meno, Carl Meyer, Jesse Nanetti Pereda, Anita Okazaki. I got Vince Delgado, Glenn Hunter, Rita Edwards. Nice to see a bunch of names here. Bill Friton, Brian Perez, Chris Barnes, and Army Lynn saying good morning to everybody. I'm sorry I haven't had a chance to check on this much earlier. Mercy Wenzel, Mark Voigtland over in the free zone saying half a day to everybody. Carlo Leon Guerrero, Frederico Santiago, Jose Tepago saying, I sunk your battleship. I think that must have been one of those conversations we were talking about the legislature. Joe Cruz, Sandra Regis, Biba, Miss Speaker, Zotnya Rules, Mitchell Prashado, nice to see you there, cuz. Mel Barnes, Bill Wyndham, good morning to you. Tony Martinez, Eddie Cruz, Arlene Castro Guzman, Juanita Machi, and Barnett, stay away from the Kool-Aid, he says. All right, good ideas and good advice. Anna Rivera Toves watching the show. Chech Garcia. Let me just fast forward and see who's playing around here right about now. Charlie Hermosa telling everybody to have a good weekend. Eddie Castro. Colin Clark says batteries have a shelf life. You don't use them, they don't last. 'Tis time in service. Lynn Vince Borja Polino wondering, responding to a question I'd asked, where are you guys playing this weekend? Sunday, Sunset 5 to 8 at Linda's Beachside Gar. Oh, my God. At Linda's. Sunset Linda's on Sunday.
That's where it goes down, man.
Everything's going down there.
Cameras everywhere.
Are there?
I don't know.
I don't know. Did they move the homeless people away from the back over there? Dave Dinsman online saying iPhone batteries suck. Colin Clark, cars plus batteries equal radio-controlled racing, says Rico B. Carl Meyer, Ohio Gozaimasu from the land of the rising sun. Felix Bumba, EOD. No, it's not EOD Kaboom. DOD Kaboom. Is that guy with the Air Force? Don't know. You'll need to right-click on him and find out. Roger Duffy and Grace Slaughter, G-R-E-S. Grace Slaughter watching the program. Right-click, Real Joe. Eddie Ford and Francis Tenorio. Bakir Mardelgiano has checked in. So is John Cabardo, June Amaguin. I said that wrong. John Amaguin. Reggie, Christina Mendoza, Louise Taitagui, Jigme Norbu. I'm wondering if these are friends of Jerem. A.G. Ja, Hafa a day to you, Kenny Williams, and others. Great to have everybody online here this morning. 10 away for the top of the hour. Break time or call time?
Senator Chris Duenas.
Land, yeah, we finally found that guy. Like Chris
Yeah.
Duenas of the unbreakable, unshakable Republican and now Republican Party, joined by Chris Barnett, Therese Terlai, and Sabine Perez. Buenas and half a day.
Buenas and half a day, Ray, and Rio Joe, and I hope Donna D is enjoying the balance of her morning. And Ray, you pooty me, man.
What?
You asked Jesse to do your show, man.
What? No, I didn't. No. That's only if you said no.
Joe, I'm pooty.
Benitizu. I'll produce for you, Senator.
And I was even going to ask you to create me a button, Joe, man.
The Chris Duenas button. Trust me, you're never far from my thoughts. But yeah, I just want to make sure that I've got healthy people that can take on the responsibilities and bring some variety to some of the listeners for at least a very, very short time. Don't worry about it.
You know, we'll tag team it, bro. We'll tag team it.
No, you can't tag team. If you tag, no, see, I wouldn't leave. If we were going to tag team, it'd be the three of us. I'd do that Friday morning, 9 o'clock in the morning on Friday. We just come in and shark fight just all morning long.
Got it.
But here's the premise of it: this legislature. That I think I'm seeing evolve before my very eyes is the closest thing to something that I referred to a couple of years ago as the Republican Party, which is just the feel that I got is there's a whole bunch of people now that finally are saying out loud, hey, we are our own branch of government. And I was pleased when I played the audio of Therese Terlai's welcome aboard speech yesterday when she made reference to the early days of the body and the demands that they had and walked out on in order to secure this third branch of government that we enjoy here. And so why isn't a bigger deal of it made? Why are there so many at the legislature that feel that they need to do as Adelup says in order to get things done?
You know, it was a very nice speech, and I'm saddened that it wasn't able to happen in front of the entire entourage that was there. But nonetheless, it's quite meaningful, and the sincerity is there really amongst the nine of us, Ray. That really, to me, if that's the only thing that this coalition accomplishes is just a solid check and balance branch of government, then we've already won. And I think that's why in the end, through all of the negotiations let's call the fairness too, right? I mean, those three were willing to put in the standing rules, put it in writing that there's 15 senators now. And, Frank did a wonderful job. We don't call him minority leader, we call it the Republican leader. Our caucus did a really good job in terms of staying together and really understanding what were the fundamentals. Are we going to disagree on other big issues? Absolutely. I like to say this: we're going to be good independently, and we're going to be good together.
As it should be. But everybody, for the benefit of the people of Guam. I mean, look, if Adelup comes over and has some really, really good ideas that are going to help move this community forward economically, culturally, and they're going to make sense. Okay, well, yeah, the body will back you, but we've also got to have our share of the input. It can't be my way or the highway for another 4 years. It can't be another one of another 4 years where the governor says, no, this is my money. I will spend this money the way I see fit. The federal government gave it to me, not you. And oh my God! And there's still, what's the balance in that? What are we down to? $250 million?
Somewhere around there. Yeah.
Well, now would be a good time for the governor to come down and say, "All right, where do you think that this money needs to go?"
Well, not only that, Ray, but imagine when the public auditor sends us the next audit. I think the first thing that the committee needs to do is find out the responsible agencies, like you discussed this morning, and say, hey, we're having an oversight hearing. We want to know how did these findings happen, and what do we do about it, and how do we prevent it? In the past, if a chairperson didn't want to do that, a vice chair can do it.
Yeah. And that in and of itself is a fundamental enough change. As I said, there's a bunch of people that are saying, well, the Republicans probably could have held out for more. But my response was the ask of the Republicans was not that high. And you run the risk then of people on the other side, the other six, being able to continue to try to exert influence on Chris and Sabina and Therese Terlai. I think you guys got in at the right time. I think you got out at the right time. And I think everybody is going to win. There are going to be losers from this. You can see who they are on the video that came out of the legislature yesterday. Some people were clapping, and some people were, oh my God, muzu face, like somebody peed in their Rice Krispies. You know what? It's time to move on. And by moving on, I would submit that there are members of that six that should probably take a look at the current arrangements and maybe start to sit a little bit closer to the 9.
I agree with that. I really agree with that. And Ray, the thing is, on that issue on holding out, we were not greedy. Our leaders said it from the beginning. We don't want the committees outright. We don't want money. We're not going after things to pad our personal abilities. We wanted co-equal power between the two caucuses so that we could literally get things done. Here's an example, right? Not only is the governor setting down a good idea, okay, let's talk about it. But what happens when a good idea from a Republican and it sits in a committee, or it's a finance or public safety bill and it goes to environment? No, we go back into rules. There's 7 of us there. It's the rule of 7. We reroute that bill and have a public hearing. That's the power.
There.
That's the co-equal branch of government where no majority can hijack a minority's bill and a good idea and stuff it away somewhere, maybe rewrite it and reintroduce it or send it to purgatory. And that can't happen when you have 4 Republicans on core.
Well, I can hardly. I mean, I've got my ideas. I've got my suggestions for legislation. I already know who the vanguards of those are going to be. So I'll watch and see what happens in the next little bit. We literally could be at some of the most productive times that we need here in the community, just with a stronger co-equal branch of government. There are going to be times, obviously, where we're going to work together with the administration if it all sounds like a good idea. So let's go ahead and start throwing those good ideas around, as opposed to the only good ideas come from the archdiocese of the Democratic Party of Lou and Tony, and start acknowledging that there were thousands of other votes cast for members of the legislature. So who do you think is going to defect first on the other 9 or the other 6?
I don't. I want to work with him. So, but
I'm just wondering who's it going to be, because there's of the 6, I'm sure there might be the couple of new guys going, crap, man, we're sitting on the losers table. I want to go sit with those guys, and if we do, because you only need one more really, and added to your coalition, it would be incredible if all of a sudden there were 10 people at the legislature that were on the same page, and then we could really get some stuff done, including taking bill number 11 from the 36th Guam legislature and supercharge that mother.
Monday morning introduction. And not only that, if you want to know the possibilities, go back to the tape and look who clapped.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. All the new guys in the back
there that look very reasonable.
Yeah, the new guys in the back that weren't sure what they were supposed to clap for and not clap for. I understand completely. It's always a pleasure talking to you, and I have not had the opportunity now that you are fully sworn in. The inauguration is done. Congratulations again, Senator Duenas.
Hey, thanks, Ray. And like I said, I mean it. We'll look forward to, taking care of you if you want to take a break to share some of our ideas. But Happy New Year to you, and thank you, and keep up the great show. I don't have time to kind of serve, but I'm sure you've heard your the counterpiece to yourself basically is all up in arms, but I'm glad we have the point.
Oh, boy. Oh, no. Are they mad? Are they pouting? Crap. All right. Well, I'll check out a couple of tapes. Right on. At 10 o'clock in the morning in the radio station. I'll talk to you pretty soon, Chris. And, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, if you want to identify as a winner on this one, then by all means, let's identify as winners. But also recognize that in every case where you've got a winner, you got losers, too. And I don't want to go and say that these guys are all losers. It's all up to you now. How the direction of the legislature has been set, and you've got to make decisions on whether you are going to sit there and be grumpy about it, frowny face Friday. Yeah, or whether you're going to say, well, I guess this is the reality. I better embrace it and do what the people put me there to do. It's 10 o'clock in the morning on the first Friday of 2023. For real, Joe, Donna D, and Jerry Roberts, my name is Ray Gibson saying thanks for listening. Have a great weekend.
Fox News.
No member-elect having received a majority of the votes cast, a speaker has not been elected.
House Clerk Cheryl Johnson, after the 10th round of voting for Speaker of the House.